Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Edmond, your host for the next few hours, along with Mike.
Hello.
Spence.
Good morning, sir.
Bruce.
And I unmuted at just the right time.
Oh, that was you?
What do you mean? No, I mean, I mute with Skype, so I was in the process of tweeting and Facebooking about the show.
Oh.
And I always unmute.
The music went real loud there for a second, and
I heard it too.
It wasn't.
No, that was me.
Oh,
I was hitting refresh, and I had that computer potted up.
That's fine. So you, so you already? Yeah, I forgot to tweet it. I'll do it after we start talking.
I'm on tweets.
Well, I've got it here. I've got a bookmark. And I go and I tweet. You tweet it to where, Bruce? So I don't duplicate. Your
Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus. And if you were to do it to Google Plus or to Facebook, I would share yours. Let's spread the love.
Well, I'll do it after. Our number is 919.
Followers.
Do what?
As long as you're doing it to your own followers, it doesn't matter if there's some duplicates.
Right.
Okay.
Our
number,
spam. Well, yeah.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is being brought to you by that VidBlaster guy, Tom Sinclair, who has been having a lot of fun with the VidBlaster lately. www.thatvidblasterguy.com.
That VidBlister?
Yeah, VidBlister.
Ooh.
I saw something on his last show, and I'm actually doing it now. And he said that somebody called Mike Phillips told him to not broadcast higher than 22.050 and 40... What are these? I don't know,
but it sounds like he's mistaken me for someone else. 44.1 is the standard wave, but you don't stream in that for online video.
So I took it from 41 to 22. No, I don't know if I'm talking the same thing. Audio, video, audio.
Audio's not important.
40 kbps.
You went down to 40?
Yeah, because that's what he was doing.
Well, he's mistaken.
And he said you told him that because the human ear cannot hear it.
He is mistaken. You cannot hear over 20K analog. But if you go to 40K MP3, it sounds terrible.
And 50% of our listeners are of the canine variety, so they can hear.
You should never broadcast below 64K.
Yeah, I do have a question for.
The
question is, in XSplit, I can use my my Hauppauge TV tuner as a source. I can do that in VidBlaster as well. However, when I use it as a source in XSplit, it brings in the audio as well. But when I use it as a source in VidBlaster, all it brings in is the video signal. It carries no audio with it. There is no way I can get audio from the TV tuner card into VidBlaster, at least none that I've been able to find.
Can't you run an external jumper from the sound out on the video card to the sound in on your computer?
Well, technically, no. It's not a card. It's a USB.
Doesn't it have a headphone jack on it?
No, it does not. And why should I have to do that when XSplit handles it wonderfully seamless?
Well, I can answer that. Because you're dealing with a guy who wants to do it his way and not your way.
Bruce, I have the old computer that we were using here, the quad core.
Mm-hmm.
In order to get the sound into VidBlaster, I had the same thing. I had a jumper. It wouldn't work any other way from anywhere to anywhere. I couldn't get any sound into VidBlaster without that jumper.
Mm.
and
Well,
I'm
not jumping through hoops.
No, it's just a cable with a Sony connector on both ends, and you plug one into the into the output and one into the input, and then everything is fine. That's what you're talking about, right, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, you can handle it in the analog domain. What Bruce wants to do is be able to handle it at the driver level, which is obviously the best way to do it for a number of reasons. But if the software developer says, you don't need that, then you don't need that.
I don't know that he said that. I think it's different machines work different ways.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I just realized my audio was set. So like, if I go to that thing, you can hear the.
And yet the Warriors had lost all three.
Audio,
yes, we
right?
can.
The team struggling to keep its purchase on the slippery slope.
We heard that.
Yeah.
The slippery slope.
So what you need to do, Bruce, is put a television in another part of the room with a microphone on it. And you can feed that audio, the audio from the video, the broadcast through that microphone in as a separate feed into a mixer.
The reason why this is important, I'm doing a special event tonight. Perhaps you've heard the History Channel is broadcasting a 10-hour, 5-week series on the Bible. It's called The Bible by Robert Burnett and his wife. Robert, the Survivor, The Amazing Race, his wife, Touched by an Angel. And so I'm going to be streaming it live and having some chat going on and just having some dialogue, questions that people might ask tonight on one of my channels. And I'm using XSplit because I can get the highest quality of video and the audio automatically. So,
where are you streaming?
Where am I streaming?
Aren't you doing Bamboozer? I
am.
And are you doing it in HD?
Right now, I've just been testing with 640 by 360. It's what I normally use on my Bamboozer channel.
That's plenty for a computer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get a lot of bandwidth issues unless you have a CDN that auto-negotiates the bandwidth in the delivery for the particular client, or at least by choice. I don't recall how many of them allow that. Stickum did, but who Stickum?
Right. Yeah, John, I saw your comment. I appreciate that. I may try that.
What did you say about Touched by an Angel?
Roma Downey Jr. She's Roma Downey. She
Junior.
Was junior. Yeah, not junior. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Junior 8.
So she's going to be on the show?
Well, she plays Mary in the segment. They're doing 5 different segments, each one 2 hours long, to cover just a key portion of biblical history. But when they get to that part, she plays Mary. But the people I know, they had an advisory board to make sure it would be accurate and everything, and so I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I'm gonna live stream it and make it an event.
My daughter and I were talking about how not that I had a lot of respect for Bill O'Reilly, in the first place, because I think he just is bombastic, so to speak. But he was interviewing them about the show. Mm-hmm. And, well, we all know that the Bible is just an allegory and all this other stuff. And they were defending themselves very well, but he was just being his typical jerk about it.
Well,
just let it be what it is. Why do you have to attack somebody?
I may join you without going into it here, Bruce. I may try to join you in chat because there was a major problem with the TV series Touched by an Angel, but we won't go into that here.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, would you do me a favor and listen to the audio with your headphones online and just tell me if it's really that bad? Because if it is, maybe
it won't. If it's at 40K, it's not going to be that bad for most people. But let me think about how I can do this without feeding you.
Oh, never mind. No, if you have to do somersaults, never mind. Don't worry.
You have to be really careful because if you don't select the right frequencies, I won't be able to hear you anymore.
The problem is I use aux sends instead of the program feed to send to you.
That's all right.
And
that's all right.
Tell me if I go away. Did my audio go away?
No.
Got lower.
Now it's gone.
All right, then I can do it. So stand by. Y'all go ahead and I'll play with it.
That's all right.
I'm going to do it.
So here is an interesting I don't know why that article was even written, because I'll explain afterwards. It says flash SSDs are not volatile, right? So how could power failures screw with your data? Come on, guys. This is a hard drive. What's the difference? Several ways. According to ZDNet post that summarizes a paper presented at last month's Fast 13 conference, researchers from Ohio State and HP Labs researchers tested 15 SSDs using an automated power fault injection testbed and found that 13 lost data. Bit corruption hit 3 devices, 3 head, shorn writes, 8 serializability errors, 1 device lost third of its data, and 1 SSD bricked. The low-end hard drive had some unserializable writes, while the high-end drive had no power fault failures. The 2 SSDs that had no failures, both were MLC 2012 model year with a mid-range 1.17 per gigabyte price. But what is the difference between a spinning drive and an SSD drive if power fails? When does a spinning drive loses data? When it writes the FAT, when it updates the FAT, when it saves something, and the power goes out. It should be the same thing for the SSD, in my opinion. If you are writing a file to the SSD and right when it updates the FAT, power fails, you're going to lose it.
My understanding, though, is that when you write to a mechanical hard drive, the data is written to a buffer, a RAM buffer. When that buffer fills up, that block is written to the hard drive.
Yeah.
If it fails before the data in the buffer is written to the hard drive, you lose that data. That RAM operates at the same speed of the SSD, so instead of writing to a buffer and then to the SSD, maybe it's writing directly to the SSD.
And there may be, because of the algorithms they built into the SSD, there may be different data handling techniques, because I know they do dynamic error correction because of the having to reassign and not randomly, but sequentially write to different places on the drive to make the drive last longer, so they're not writing over the same space every time. So that must be interesting how that happens. There might be a lot more buffering done.
I don't know. Maybe
SSD drive.
Maybe in a lab it's a different story. But as far as I'm concerned, you're writing something to a disk, and power fails, you're going to lose data.
Any way you look at it, because whether it has a little capacitance,
right,
and saves it for a couple more microseconds before it fails writing, it's going to stop in the middle of it, and you're not going to have saved the right data.
Right.
So.
Hey, Spence, I have a question. I was curious about that other camera shot.
The overhead.
What webcam was that? Because that's a really good quality.
That's a C525.
Okay, yeah, I've got a 525 in my bag that I travel with. Yeah,
that's why I bought it to travel with, because it's an excellent fold.
It's nice the way it folds up on itself, isn't it? It protects the lens. Toss it in your bag. Yeah.
Yeah, I just Amnon gave me a long USB extension, so I wanted to play around with this. So I had another view, because this is my remanufactured desk now that I
it looks nice.
Changed my I changed my work setup. This is my play setup. Mm-hmm. My work setup has 2 monitors mounted to the wall. This has you can see this bridge that I built here.
Oh, yeah.
That for the monitors to stand on top of, because I've got outlets. This is a table that's normally used in a classroom environment. It's got pop-up outlets. Mm-hmm. And I needed a way to be able to access those and raise the monitors up and give me, like, my power strips are under here, and just give me some more space. But this is my new play setup. with
cool.
The dual monitors. Yeah.
Now I'm using a C910 for my over-the-shoulder shot, and I do use a USB extender. I think mine is maybe 12 feet long. What's the maximum length on a USB for a camera?
We were talking about that. I think it has a lot to do with signal, the loss of the cable,
15 feet,
signal strength. But you can get amplifiers. They do make amplifiers that you can put on either end of the USB cable to extend the range.
Right. If you're using a powered hub, it acts as such.
Yeah, I've got a friend of mine in a church uses some high-end cams, also has some webcams for certain shots, and he uses one of those. He uses those extended cable with the amplifier built in the end. It seems to work quite well for him, and he really is sold on these Microsoft Live cams for his adaptation. But
which one? Microsoft?
Yeah, the LiveCam Studio.
Yeah, I've got. Amnon gave me the 5,000 and the 6,000 to play around with. My issue was I had all kinds of trouble with trying to get two Logitech cameras to run at the same time with XSplit and try to make adjustments to the color or whatever. And it turns out it was because I was using an older camera with a newer camera. And now that I've got I switched. I had the 9,000 on this workstation for a long time, and I just switched to the 920.
One of the other things that I heard is that, and I know this to be true about Logitech, if you're running two Logitech cameras like I am right now, I can't adjust the quality of those cameras separately. But with the LiveCam, you can go into each one of those separately and use the software to adjust your color balance and so forth.
And that's what I found with XSplit. Now I can actually, if I go in and I launch the instead of launching the application from the taskbar, if I go in and launch it from inside of XSplit, so if I select the camera, click on settings, and click on configure, it will open the settings for that camera. And it seems to be, it's all about drivers. It was because if I was mixing the environment with older cameras and newer cameras, the drivers would just throw up on themselves. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But now that I've got
Mike. Mike's got
cameras.
one up.
This is the LiveCam cinema. This was the $90 one or whatever. I can't get a good picture out of it. It's almost like it will not focus.
This is the 5,000.
Yeah. The newer one of the version that Mike is holding up actually has, and it can bend over too, but on the bottom flat end where his hands are holding it, there's now a threaded slot where you can use it on a regular tripod mount, which is nice.
And that's big.
Yeah. And they copied Logitech on that little feature. The new Logitech 930 is due to be released in May, and it's supposed to have a wider angle, like 90 degrees, more so than any other current webcam out there.
Which I don't need.
It's $109, I think, retail.
I struggled at first with the 920. When I bought it, I put it on my work machine, and I was using it for video conferencing. It took me a while to tweak the color intensity and all that was different than the 9000. The 9000 just seemed to work real well default. Yep. Whereas the 920, it was a little harder. I realize it's a better camera.
Nope. Not necessarily. But a lot of people who like the 910 better than the 920 for up to 720. For Skype, the 910 will not go to 1080, and the 920 will. But there are people, including Andrew, who prefer the 910 at 720 more than they prefer the C920.
I think maybe if I had a device that could actually take advantage of the H.264 built in, it might make a difference. But
and the 930 has that feature. Yeah. But I'm using the Pro 9000 for this very reason that you mentioned, Spence. I like the way it handles color better. I don't want to. I don't mind going in and tweaking it, but this is just works fine.
You can still get it too. I'm not sure if they still make it, but you can buy still new old stock. Mm-hmm. I do see it on Amazon, and I put together a little best practices paper for when we started to train folks on our video conferencing solution. We bought a company called RadVision, and I was one of the. very lucky people that got to go to the pre-purchase of the company class where we got trained on all the equipment. So of course, that came with the responsibility of having to train everybody. So I put together a little best practices document based on XSplit and all the things I learned, because people would start up their video conferencing and all you'd see is like them looking over, like all you'd see was the top of from their eyes up or something like that, or they'd be in their bedroom and you'd see the guy's wife making the bed in the background. So guys, pay attention to your background. Pay attention to what you're doing. Don't buy a cheap camera. Be aware of your sound, your audio quality. So I suggested that people buy at the time the 9000 because it was still available. And
good morning, Steve.
Audio is irrelevant, isn't it?
Totally.
Good morning, everybody. How absolutely splendid to see you all. I'm so thrilled. I do apologize for being late, but I'm here.
It is early there.
Could you say rubbish one time for me, please?
Oh, that's just rubbish.
And we trust you.
Amnon was laughing. Do it again.
That's rubbish.
We trust you used your time being late productively.
Well, you would be amazed, actually, but I shan't go into it quite now because you're mid-conversation. But thank you for welcoming me in. It's very nice to be here.
It's nice to have you.
Oh, shucks.
Absolutely.
Oh, shucks. Oh, shucks.
Hey, I have a question for the panel on camera placement. The way I have my new setup now, the camera is pretty much in the same place. And I find that when people, or maybe I should ask people who are watching, what would you prefer to see? Us looking down? Because everything is below my camera, right? So I've got to look at my screen on either side. The camera's right in the center between the two monitors. And I'm always looking down. So would it be better if the camera was lower so we're looking up, or directly in the center? I mean, what looks good?
I can answer that for you. There is a rule that when you're on camera, if it's just you, you're supposed to look into the camera. If there are two of you on the set, you're supposed to look at each other. Anything out, and if you don't, there are a lot of these rules in video that if you don't know them, you don't realize how important they are until you see someone violate them.
Looking at Bruce now. Now I'm looking at Mike. Well,
yeah. But but with webcams, when you're looking at a computer monitor, as we said here during the show, I'm looking at things online that are may be relevant for the show or that people want to hear about. Again, this is a radio show, not a video show. So we violate the rule, as do many people who don't bother to look into the camera, and it's because it's not TV.
What I do is I play Skype because body language is important. The only problem we have is we can't see Steve's body language. We can only assume what it might be like. But I place my Skype directly underneath my camera. So I'm looking right at the camera right now, but now I'm looking at Mike Phillips, and now I'm looking back at the camera. I'm not sure if you can really tell the difference. So I like to put my Skype right directly underneath my camera.
That's the trick.
So here, I've got my XSplit here. I'll wait till you switch to me, Amnon. This is the new setup that I've come up with. Got my XSplit on the bottom inside of the right monitor. I'm monitoring the show in the show window here, and I've got Skype just off to the side. I used to have a small 15-inch monitor with Skype that was literally, I had to look to the side to see. Mm-hmm. So this is much nicer now. And then I've got two side-by-side browsers open for information gathering. So
how high is the cam? Higher than how many inches above the?
Me?
How many inches above the monitors?
It's sitting on top of the monitor.
I know, but it's
how much higher than me is it?
No,
it's like
no. If I'm looking at the 6000, is that what I'm looking at? Is that
no?
the 6000?
I'm using this. I'm using the 920.
Oh, okay.
6,000 is above.
Okay, so here's the question. Now think sensibly. Why is the white space between the top screen where you monitor the show and the edge of the top of the monitor? Why is there white space there?
I can't help it. It's the top of the browser window. I can't make it go any higher.
Yes, you can.
Oh, I could do it into full screen mode or whatever you call it.
No, you can just scroll it. If it's not full screen, you can scroll it off. Oh, I see what you mean. No, never mind.
Oh, I can't move it any higher.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking. Yeah.
And if I do that in Windows 7, as soon as I go above the edge
it goes
of the monitor,
full screen.
it goes full screen.
Well,
so I might be able to just turn off all the toolbars.
Wait. Well, you shouldn't have all these toolbars if you have a bunch of them anyway.
I don't. I mean, I have the menu bar.
Let me ask you this. Can you split the monitors a little bit to allow the camera to go in between them and lower the camera?
Oh, I'm sure I could. Or I could just make a stand.
Mechanically, is it possible for you to put space between the two monitors?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because the monitors are... I mean, the edges of the stands of the monitors are literally right at the edge of this. I could move them apart slightly.
Okay, because that's how I mean, I'm with Mike on the thing. If you're there alone on the camera, then you should look at the camera.
Absolutely, and that's when I do the specials.
Or look as close to being look at the camera, because it's impossible to look right at the camera when you're talking to somebody. When you have the picture, like when you monitor the show and you're looking at it, it's kind of hard to concentrate on the camera, keep looking at the camera when you have somebody that you're talking to on the monitor. So the way that I found out to do it the best way is my monitors are not one next to the other. There's space between them. This is almost 10 inches. And the cameras are situated in between the two monitors, one up, one down. For the show, I'm using VidBlaster. I've got what you call monitoring the show. That shot is at the top left of the right monitor. My camera, the one I'm looking at now, is right next to that shot. So when I'm looking at the shot right now, unless you really blow it up and all that, you don't see that I'm looking 2 inches to the right. And if you look, even on TV, when you have an anchor or whoever that is like on the news, you'll see that their eyes are actually moving because they are looking at the teleprompter. But if you look at it normally, you don't see it unless you pay attention to it. For the other hosts who are sitting on the other side of the desk, the camera is lower. It's almost at the bottom of the monitor. So I situated that monitoring shot, the program shot, at the bottom of the monitor. So when they look at that shot, it looks like they're looking at the camera. And every now and then, we will look at the camera like I'm looking right now, right at the camera. And other times you go to the right a little bit and you look at Mike putting his hand and, and somebody, because it's normal for us that when we talk to somebody, to look at them. And that's why you need to come up with the best way for you. Looking down or looking up is really wrong, in my opinion. Looking down is even worse.
I think looking up is worse.
No, looking down
looking up is harder on you, I think.
No, looking down is worse ethically. Looking up is really bad because people see up your nostrils.
Well, that's the business Bruce is in, looking down versus looking up, right, Bruce?
That's right.
Right. Yeah, you definitely don't want the Booker check shot that Emma just so adequately described.
It's inherently difficult if you're using a laptop or a netbook or something like that, because the laptop's got the thing at the top, and unless you've it's difficult to look straight at that, because invariably you're looking at something on the screen, or perhaps you're looking at if you're in Skype, you're looking at the their picture coming back to you, and maybe also sort of checking that your hair is straight, whatever. So it is difficult to have it directly in front of you. You look at TV studios, invariably the camera's a lot further away.
Right.
It's not right up close, like an arm's length away, like it is for podcasting and webcasting.
And with Carrie, with the Carrie Psychic Cafe, since she's doing a lot of shows from remote, from New Jersey, I had her. I mean, in the beginning, you could see that she's not looking at the camera, and she is there by herself talking to a caller. So, got her to situate the Skype feed right under the camera at the very top of the screen. So it looks as though she's looking at the camera, but I know she's not looking at the camera. So again, it's where you're situating. And in Spence's case, the best would have been, Bruce, you went black.
I know.
Okay. I'll be
back.
In Spence's case, the way that those monitors are set up right now, if he could take that monitoring shot and put it all the way on the upper left corner of the monitor, then when he looks at that area, it would look almost like he's looking at the camera.
Well, what does it look like now? Because I'm monitoring the show feed, and that's what I'm looking at right now.
Right now, you can tell that you're looking to your right.
Slightly, yeah. Well, the camera is slightly to the left because of the other camera I have mounted there.
How far from your face is it? Is it arm's length or farther?
It's exactly arm's length.
Okay. Yeah.
But you're looking straight, as it were, slightly to the right.
Now I'm looking straight at it. Now I'm looking at the monitor.
It's better than looking down.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm wondering if you can tell the same thing about me when I'm looking straight at the camera, or when I'm looking at the monitor, at the monitoring shot. I'm looking at the camera. I'm looking at myself.
Well, you know what we need? We need Google glasses.
No, I mean, it's you'll never get it perfect, and don't pretend to try to get it perfect, like Mike said.
No, the only reason I brought it up is because I had a chance to redo it.
Yeah, you get it as close as you can.
Hey, let me share with you a resource I discovered last week that I really like a lot. It's called FlixPress.com, FlixPress. And if you can go ahead and switch to me, Amnon, I'll show you a little something. You can create on this website little video things, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Most of them are free. Some are $2, $3, $4. But like I created this one for free. It's gonna show up here. Now that one was free, and there's a bunch of them that are free. And if you go to FlixPress.com, it's a free service, and look at the templates that are there. There are some really amazing things you can do. So for anybody that's watching that does video shows, you'll be notified by email when it's ready. You can download it. It's an MP4. You can also download, if you don't want the MP4, you can download a MOV file, QuickTime, or you can download a WMV, or Windows Media Video Player. But a great little resource for creating show intros, outros.
Welcome to the We Tech Symposium.
Ignore that.
Segment transfers and the like.
So what we need to get is those helmets that people wear that have the camera out, suspended out in front of their face. They use it for those weird shows where they walk through the dark and all that stuff. So it's always on your face. No matter how you turn it, it's always right on your face. I think it's very disorienting for the audience because the background moves weird. But I'm going to go dark for a second and just move the camera down to the middle of the monitors, and then you can tell me what you think.
Gene brought up a good point there. He says looking at the camera when you're answering someone on your right or your left is a hard thing to do. TV interviews, when I did a couple of TV interviews, because the person's asking you the question, you want to look at them to answer it. But, of course, you've got to actually look at the camera, and it's just the same situation when you're presenting something to somebody.
That's not going to work because I realize I have to change my blue screen if I play around with that. So that's not going to happen.
Be careful now.
Yeah, if I mess with this, it's going to change my whole blue screen setup, and I don't want to do that.
Bruce, you said FLIXPRESS.com.
Correct. I just put the link in there. But if you'll check, I mean, there are some really incredible things. Look at one called Icy Spin. Chain Reaction is another really good one, and it'd be really great for not just openings and intros, but also for segment transitions. From one segment to another. They're really, really nice.
What does it cost to?
Well, I mean, most of them are free, and what they give you for free is 640 by 360. If you pay $1 or $2 more, depending on which template you're using, you can get 720p or 1080p. But they're really quite nice. So that you can look at them if you go and you click on when you get to their site on automated templates. Just try some of them, and it'll open them up, and you can see what they look like. But it's definitely worth your while. It's a great little resource.
Yeah, maybe we can use that Jesus encounter here on the show.
In more ways than one.
No, I created one for my Morning Manna podcast. It's interesting, and then you can have no music behind it, no sound effects, or a choice of 2 or 3 that they make available. So,
all right, let's see. Talking about,
I'm going to reboot a computer I'm on, so just bear with me. It's pretty quick, so hopefully I'll be able to pop back in. Just let the video go screwed up. I've got to do something here.
Oh, so you're going to
just leave everything as is.
All right.
I'll be right back.
I'll leave everything as is. Everything is still.
Can I breathe?
Don't touch the dial.
Only short breaths, though, Spence. Don't take a deep breath.
It goes, look outside your window. If you see miles of farmland, chances are you have terrible internet service. That's because major telecommunications companies don't think it's worth the investment to bring high-speed broadband to sparsely populated area. But like most businesses, farms increasingly depend on the internet to pay bills, monitor the market, and communicate with partners. In the face of sluggish connections, what a group of farmers to do? Grow their own, naturally. That's what the people at Lancashire, Steve, is that Lancashire, England?
Lancashire, yeah. But
Lancashire.
Funny, as you were reading that, I was thinking that sounds like something I was reading this week about England. Why would Amnon be reading something about England? Da-da! It's the World Wide Web, everybody.
That's what they're doing there. Last year, a coalition of local farmers and others from the northwestern British county began asking local landowners if they could use their land to begin laying a brand new community-owned high-speed network, sparing them the expense of tearing up roads. Then, armed with shovels and backhoes, the group called Broadband for the Rural North began digging the first of what will be approximately 180 kilometers of trenches and filling them with fiber optic cable, all on its own. Now that is nice. I guess that's because they don't have Time Warner there to say, no, you can't do that, right?
I'm sure they have
basically
someone there that would push back.
I don't know who could push back.
Human nature.
I don't know that anybody can stop them, though.
Where there's a will, there's a municipality. No problem.
No, where there's a will, there's a relative.
That's right.
It's they can't. They've sort of taken away the monopoly that British Telecom had. So instead of saying, "Well, tough," we're not going to. It'd be very easy for them to turn around and basically say, "Well, you can't connect into our network," but they can't do that. That would be illegal, anti-competitive. So if you've got an infrastructure that you want to connect into it, they have to allow you, which is brilliant. More competition.
Well, I trust everybody who uses Evernote has changed their password by now.
Bruce, I changed your password for you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, they had a
I was looking out for you.
Yeah, they had a security breach yesterday, and I heard about it yesterday morning. In fact, if you do use Evernote and you go and you haven't changed your password and you go to log in and you use your current password, you will be immediately redirected to reset your password. So, just a little tech tip for those Evernote users.
I've tried multiple times to use it, and somehow we don't get along.
Did you bring flowers?
I did.
Oh, man. Flowers usually works.
Did you pay for dinner?
I always have to pay for dinner.
That's weird, Mike. You are still in HD. It did not switch back yet. Leave it alone. It probably will. I don't want to move.
I'm not telling you what I'm doing.
It's
Should we be grateful?
I don't know. We'll see.
Let's see if I'll move that up a little bit.
Don't change anything.
No. I'm moving the whole thing up so we don't see. One of you talk.
The blue bar.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
I don't see the blue. Yeah. I just moved the whole shot up. So it's okay. But oops. Did you do that?
I did. I just told you not to change anything.
I didn't.
Just like
No.
Gary says,
I mean,
don't click on it.
It's fine. It's what you did though. It is still in HD, but you letterboxed it.
Then
it did not actually change the size of your.
Well, as I said before, and I shall say again, ignore me for the moment. I'm working on some things.
No, I don't think it was you. I think it was when I turned off the return video. I didn't notice that.
Well, I think it's me, but we'll see.
I really miss Mike. I wonder why he couldn't show up today.
Yeah.
Yellow card him, that's all.
You're like the look of your setup there now. You've got it sorted out, Spence. Looks good.
I'm just finishing up the specials. I do what I can do the night before online, but the stuff that comes in the paper, I have to do it in the morning. And the paper's been so erratic lately. We missed one week, didn't come until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's kind of unpredictable as to when I get at it here. Best Buy and Tiger Direct do not offer their ads the night before, unfortunately.
They don't?
They do not. You cannot look at them online the night before. Office Depot, Staples, and Office Max offer their ads the night before.
Shoplocal.com.
That's not good enough. I think Amnon needs to get on the phone and have a word with them.
Immediately.
I'm sorry, but this is unacceptable. We've got a show to produce and get ready here. We need to know about this information straight away.
Mike, what are you doing, Mike?
I told you to ignore it.
I'm ignoring. I'm not even switching to it. I don't want people to see what you're doing.
So you want people to see what I'm doing?
No, we want to see.
Why is it showing XSplit on mine?
Because here, guys, here's Mike's shot. So Mike is using XSplit.
And my question to you, Bruce, is why is it showing up the XSplit?
XSplit is not running, but you have it set up in Skype as your video feed.
I'm sitting here looking at it. What do you mean it's not running?
Or it crashed then, or you've got something set up.
Even the audio is showing in the XSplit.
Yeah.
Toggle.
It happens. Sometimes
wait.
You move.
Go. I think Bruce has something. Toggle it off and on.
Yeah, toggle in your Skype tools, options, video settings from back and forth between XSplit and something else, and then back to XSplit. Sometimes that jogs it loose.
That gets hung. And if that doesn't work, buy a new computer.
It is a new computer.
Take it back to him. It's different.
All right. I just did that, and it didn't work. I can try this. That
welcome into the chat, Eric. Nice to see you.
Do you have XSplit set to act as a virtual camera?
I may have, but I installed a new version. Maybe it didn't stick.
Mm-hmm.
So where is that? Tools? General settings, maybe?
Yes.
Okay. Enable Skype integration?
Yeah, you'd like that. And then Skype will ask you, for authorization to do so.
Well, it was already set. It has been set. Maybe I'm going to stop XSplit and restart it. So again, ignore me, Amnon.
Yeah, no. Wait a second. It says something. You can do this by turning on virtual camera output from Tools, Settings, General, Tab, and we can't see any more.
Enable virtual output. I'm going to turn it off. And now I'm going to turn it back on. And still no video.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anything. Something crashed.
Yeah, possibly. So just ignore me for the moment.
Because really, I don't see how if you change Skype from XSplit to something else and it's still showing XSplit, then I would say Skype is at fault here. So what Spence, you are, did you go down to the first floor?
I moved my seat up. So let me just adjust. I have to adjust the camera correctly here to move myself just a little bit higher in the frame.
You moved your seat up and you actually...
I raised my seat.
And you actually went down? That's weird.
I raised my seat.
Yeah. That's what I asked you if you went down to the first floor. I'm
sitting on... I got out another milk carton and I'm sitting on a little higher.
You want a couple more phone books?
Yes. Now I'm sitting in my formerly very comfortable Aero chair.
There you go, Mike. Looking good.
Yeah, and then it went right back to 4x3.
It is 4x3. I control that.
Well, it started as before your picture came on, it was wide, and then the minute your picture showed up, it went back. So it's fine. It's all right.
All right, carry on.
So, hey.
I'm tired.
Amnon and I were chatting about cameras and yesterday, or when were we talking? Was it lunch this week or something? We were talking about I had been, in redoing my desktop, I uncluttered my PlayStation per se, my desktop with all my extra PCs, and just simplified everything, got rid of all the stuff I don't use. So now I just have a Windows 8 machine and a Windows 7 quad core, a dual core Windows 8 and a quad core Windows 7 with 8 gig. But rearranging the cameras, I was playing around with ways to have multiple cameras and ran into all kinds of issues and found out that both with Microsoft and with Logitech cameras, mixing and matching is sometimes very difficult. But one thing I did learn was that the newer the camera from that particular brand and the newer the driver, the much more much better they work together. I tried to use an older Logitech with a newer Logitech camera and could not get I got very bad results. Then I tried to mix the Microsoft 5000 with the Logitech cameras and the older Logitech cameras, and it did not work either. I would freeze. So as soon as I had just had all new cameras basically and got the latest versions of software, it seems to work well. So I actually have two Logitechs and one Microsoft camera all working within XSplit and all working well, and I can actually have multiple cameras on at the same time, which is nice. So for the first time, I actually got it to work. But make a long story short, my experience with getting Windows 8 to work with the Microsoft 6000 LifeCam was not too easy. I had expected it to work like Windows 7 would work, where you'd plug it in and it would say finding drivers, and it did do that. But it did not load the software. With Windows 7, it would load the software in the background and drivers and software. It did the same with Logitech. But for Windows 8, I had to go to the Windows 8 store and download not only the application, but also what is the suite of applications you have to get from Microsoft to get like movie editor and all that?
Live something.
Yeah, Windows Live.
Windows
Live something or other. But the point is that it was a much more difficult, not terrible, but just more difficult process to get the drivers loaded for Windows 8. But once I got it working, it was fine. But just they added an extra step that I did not anticipate. I actually got some feedback from some folks this week on Windows 8 people who came up to me and told me, oh yeah, I just bought this new machine for my daughter and it's Windows 8 and how do I get rid of this and how do I get rid of that? And so we went through the 2 or 3 recommendations for Start 8 or whatever, another replacement for the Start menu. But so far the reaction I've gotten to has been about 75% annoyed to 25% pleased.
Hey, Eric, don't bother with the video because you're on an audio only. We have Eric Chilton online. Morning.
I got you. Hello. Hi, guys.
Hey, Eric.
Good morning.
Sorry, I'm not in the studio as usual, so the audio will be a little tinny.
Little tinny. Hi, Eric.
It's all right.
Webcamish.
Webcamish.
A little webcamish.
Webcamish.
But there is a trick. Since you're not using the video, you can put the webcam mic even closer to you.
Yes, you are correct about that. And in fact, I can do that right now.
Yeah,
because the proximity effect.
Yes. So what's up, Eric? You had some questions.
Hold on one second, guys.
He's clipping the webcam to his lip, probably. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, clip the webcam to your collar as a microphone.
Julie said that she recommended that people change their passwords on their computers yearly. Someone said it needs to be done more frequently. What do you say? Well, I say it needs to be done as often as necessary. I guess it really matters based on how vulnerable you are to someone hacking you. Now, that being said, the shared server that I have requires you to change your password every 90 days, and it has to be a really ugly one.
Yeah, you can change your password every day, and if you're using the word password and your pet name the next time and your brother's name, it doesn't do any good.
So I figured out a way. If he has the 525 and he wears glasses, he can put the webcam right up here. And he can have the proximity effect. It works really great. Now, don't try this with a 9000 or a 910 or a 920. You have to have the 525.
may cause you to go cross-eyed slightly, but that's just one of the pitfalls.
I think what I forgot the word. What do you call it? I think Bruce got assimilated. That's the word I'm looking for.
That's it. I am Pentium of Borg. You will be approximated.
All right, I'm back. Sorry, guys. I had to mute. My little one was singing, and I didn't think you guys wanted to hear that.
Oh, boy, that's... You're bringing some loud hum.
Oh, is it bad?
It's gone now.
Yeah, my question, Amnon, was... you use VidBlaster, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm taking another... I have a second PC for my video podcast, and I'm doing my Skype for my guests through that. And the other day, I had a Blackmagic Intensity Pro card in my main PC, and I was trying to do an HDMI out from my laptop where the Skype is being run to that. Didn't work. I did 2 hours worth of messing with everything I could come up with, and finally I realized that my laptop is not, HDCP compatible? Is that the right term?
I read that, and I don't know what's HDCP.
I looked it up. And
I know what's DHCP, but I don't know what HDCP.
Yeah, this stands for, and then don't quote me on this, but it's something to do, it's basically like high definition digital content protection. So I think they're just trying to stop people from, copying DVDs and that kind of thing. So I found this in the NVIDIA card settings on my laptop. Wait, Tyler, stay in here, bud. And then then I thought, well, let me try a VGA cable out of the laptop, which I know works, and just do one of those VGA to HDMI converter boxes. So I'm trying that on Tuesday. The little box should come in the mail. But I just want to know, what are you separating everybody on computers, or do you use it all out of one?
Anything that has to do with video is on one machine.
Okay, all right.
It's just a second monitor.
Yeah, this is similar to a question Jeff Zahos called in with last week. He was getting the same copyright protection from his Samsung Note 10 tablet, and it's crazy how this happens. But he was using an HDMI cable out of his tablet and getting the same issue.
Well, and Andrew Zarian has 4 separate PCs for 4 separate Skype inputs.
A lot of them do.
So they're doing it somehow, and I've just got to... I think this will work, the VGA thing. Obviously, I'm sure I'm going to lose a little quality, but that's not...
HDMI should carry the sound.
Well, yeah, I have the sound routed through a mixer because I need to send them back audio without themselves. And, Mike, I need to send him mix minus. And so I did that through a mixer. So the audio I'm not concerned with. I just need that video.
I thought you said that you had a problem with the video, not the audio. I mean, with the audio, not the video.
Well, no, the audio works fine because I have that running separately through a board. It's just video coming out of the laptop. Basically, all I need is my laptop.
Okay, wait a second. What happens if you forget about the mixer? What happens if you just connect HDMI directly?
Well, that's what I did. And it would not be seen. My Blackmagic Intensity card was not getting anything. And then I tested the cable, with a separate interface. And then finally I realized I'm not getting video out of the laptop HDMI port at all, which to me, why the heck would they put it in there if you can't use it? Don't.
Yeah, I was going to put something. It looks good.
You were saying something about getting an error. Were you getting an error message?
No, I got nothing. It was black, and then finally the way I found it was by going into my laptop, programs on my laptop in the NVIDIA control panel. And when I did that, it said this is not HDCP compatible, and I'm not going to buy another laptop.
Yeah, and that's hard to believe because the standard was there a lot earlier than your laptop HDMI port.
Right.
I'm wondering if you are going to get signal out of it without toggling some keys on the keyboard too.
Well, I went into when you go into your screen resolution, your monitor display, I duplicate display, because that's what I want. I need to duplicate as if I was hooked up to a projector.
Right.
And I did that, and it says, yes, you're duplicated, but then nothing would come out of the HDMI port.
Which laptop is this? Did you call the manufacturer?
I did not.
That's the first thing I will try and do. I mean, if it's really not working, then don't waste any more time on it. But it seems like there will be said that the signal may not be there all the time, just like it's not there on the VGA port. You have to toggle, like, what is it, function 5 or function 6,
right? To
get the signal to the VGA port. I'm wondering if there's another one to get it to the HDMI port.
Let me see. I'm looking in that NVIDIA control panel to see if I can see what it said again and read it to you exactly. But
I remember when DVD players came out in computers, there was a lot of discussion about copyright protection and how they built into the video cards a authentication method. It's every DVD player and Blu-ray player has it built into the hardware, but on a PC, you have to have it built into the video card. And so it could be that there's an issue with that, a driver issue or an incompatibility issue. It hasn't been a problem. I haven't heard this come up in a while. It's been a couple of years. But in the beginning, when people were building their own machines and trying to play back DVD video, say you built your own computer and you bought a video card, that card would have to have that bit of software and hardware on it, hardware encoding, in order to allow it to play back DVD quality and then Blu-ray quality video. And it all had to do with copyright.
Eric, did you Google on HDMI signal and the model number of your computer?
Yes.
And
I did that, and actually I take back what I said earlier. I did call Toshiba now that I was...
Okay.
But they, you know how it is when you call these, if you know a decent amount about it, usually the person that answers the phone goes through the very basic stuff, and I'm just suffering through that, trying to get to the meat of it. And she said, you're going to have to pay for further consultation because it's harder than what I was, I'm sure she has some checklist of a tree that she goes
I would just ask straight out without going through, I didn't mean for you to call if it's out of warranty to call for instructional video. Just say, is the HDMI on this computer operational?
Yeah, she said it should be plug and play. She said when you plug that in, it should automatically be sending the signal to a TV. And I plugged it into a TV and got nothing. And then when I went in there and read that, same thing as you, Amnon, I was like, what the heck is HDCP? So I Googled that and found out. So it's odd.
What did Google say? What did you get anything similar to your problem from other people?
Yeah, found other forums, people with the same issue, but some laptops can do that and some can't. And Andrew Zarian answered me on that International Association of Internet Broadcasters site. He's on IAAB forum. He said, and Tom Sinclair both were like, check your settings, make sure you're matching the same resolution and frame rate. But a lot of laptops will not allow that. You have to specifically buy one that does.
When you were in there and you looked at the settings and you saw it said it wasn't compatible, was it HDCP was not compatible?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, so that's a high bandwidth digital content protection. That is the system that's used to work with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act that came out, and a way of building in hardware-based copyright protection into video cards, video players, and so on. So if it says that, it's a licensing thing.
It is.
Licensing thing from to do what?
It's just a law that was signed into Digital Millennium Copyright Act, came out in 2001 or 2, something like that.
You have to have license to be able to get.
No. It is a license, but for example, in a Blu-ray player or DVD player, it's built into the hardware.
Spence, the question here is why is he not getting signal out of the HDMI port?
And that's what I'm trying to answer, to say that if you get a black screen and he's getting an error message saying that it is not compliant with HD CP.
No. You did not get that error on the screen. That's what Andrew told you, right?
Well, no, the error message, I guess you can't really call it an error message. It was actually part of the NVIDIA control panel. It said this device is not HDCP compatible.
Okay, all right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, Spence.
So it is. I haven't seen this come up in a long time because I thought it was pretty much figured out. But in order for video to be legally shown, they were trying to find a way that they could build a standard and protections in so people couldn't rip video and then play it back on a device that it was a way of capturing copyright fraud. So there was a lot of consternation over it with people who had existing video cards when the standard came out. So if you went and bought a DVD player for your PC, put it into one of the slots, tried to use it with your video card, and it wouldn't work because your video card did not have the correct licensing built into it.
So maybe updating firmware could?
It could be that, or it could just be a driver, or because I can't imagine a new laptop not working.
Well, and it's my laptop's not new, but it's not ancient. I think if it's
HDMI, it can't be that old, right?
Right. I think it's a 3-year-old laptop, something like that.
And also, you said you tested the cable on another machine and it worked.
Yeah, it's not the cable.
But still try another cable.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I found that sometimes there could be something in the cable that will work. I've had it where it works on one setup and it does not work on another. And it turns out that there's either poor quality or earlier versions of HDMI cables didn't carry all the signal pairs that were needed. So I had this issue. The first TV I set up with HDMI, went to plug it in, and I actually got an error message on the screen saying there's an error with this connection. And I switched cables and it worked. But I took the cable to another setup and it worked fine. So it was just.
Is Nick on the line?
Yeah.
Hello.
So what do you think, Nick?
Nothing really. I mean, that's.
Well, thank you for your input.
I wasn't here the whole time, but can you display? So you can't display anything through HDMI.
No. The one thing I need to do is test a second. I want to test a second cable, like you suggested, and make sure that nothing's coming out of that HDMI port. The way I see it now, and I need to do a little more testing, nothing is coming out of that HDMI port.
That's interesting, because if it's that, then I don't see it being. So, I mean, yes, this is an issue with outputting HDMI to laptops, but you should be able to output it to a TV of sort, so that you could watch something on a TV without.
So how do they? I guess I'm trying to figure out. Let's pretend that I plug this into another TV and it works, and all of a sudden my desktop is displayed on the TV. But why? How does the cable know to send the information that the receiving end of the video is another PC or something it doesn't want you to go to, and not just a television?
That's what I don't understand, that whole licensing thing.
I believe it's drivers. I believe it's. This is just complete speculation, but I think it's got something to do with. You're outputting the HDMI, and then the computer is seeing that thing. It's not seeing the capture card as a monitor. It's seeing it as a third-party device, and they're just cutting third-party devices off.
Well, I'm hoping this VGA converter will do it, because I doubt they have. I mean, I know I've actually tested the VGA on a TV, and it works fine.
Yeah, but that's going to lower your resolution.
It will. You're right.
That's why they're doing it on the high definition output or sockets. They're fine with you going by VGA. It's like recording off of VHS tape in the old days. So what? It's a poor quality anyway. But for you to be able to transfer high definition content, then they need to restrict it and license it.
But the thing is, license what? I mean, if I want to play, what copyright am I breaking by trying to connect my laptop to a monitor?
Here's
why do I need?
Let me read you the description of what HDCP was intended to do. It said that high bandwidth digital content protection technologies protect high value digital motion pictures, television program, and audio against unauthorized interception and copying between a digital set-top box or digital video recorder and a digital TV or PC. HDCP specification was developed by Intel for digital entertainment interfaces. So if it says it's not compatible, it could be that that's what's stopping it. It is actually a certificate-based security system that they issue keys to your video card. If it supports watching a DVD through your monitor, has a certificate from this HDCP standard.
Okay, I understand from a DVD, from a movie that you know, but if you're just trying to put a cam and take a picture of you and put it on a TV, what copyright?
I'm only going on.
I don't know. I understand you don't know. I'm just wondering what that, you know, it's fine if a DVD can trigger something in there and say, okay, no, I'm not going to play because I'm protected.
But that was the symptom that people would get when they had a bad, when it wasn't legal or wasn't authorized, is that you got audio, but the screen was black. That's what would happen. You would get there would be no explanation.
So it's actually also, Eric, it seems like it's also possible that it worked when you got the laptop, and then an upgrade later on that had that thing built in rendered it unusable.
Maybe.
That's also a possibility.
I think it's something else, to be honest. I'm just trying to. That reminded me of that symptom. That's why I went back and researched it. I thought this was like.
The laptop is phoning home. The TV sends back the right information, but the card is not sending back.
Yeah, there's actually a handshake that goes on between the two devices, and they exchange physical keys like a certificate. Mm-hmm. It's built into the standard. And actually, I'm looking here. It says the HDCP standard version 2.2 was posted just February 27th, 2013. So it's still active. It's still out there. So
So go ahead and try another cable. It may be that one line in it is screwed up, and that's the one that it needs. Yep. Who knows?
I wonder if somebody makes some kind of a pass-through device that can fake it out. You know,
there's ways to do it.
It's already been cracked.
Yeah, Jodamax, I believe.
Cracked.
I believe Jodamax did it at one point.
Look at this. I Googled getting around HDCP, and the first thing that comes up says the HDCP master key. But this is from 2010, so I don't know.
No, it's been out a couple of years, I think, yeah.
This was a big topic with Steve Gibson back in like 2003 and 4. I remember they were talking a lot about how the standard was flawed and how a lot of people were having problems trying to get it to work. Well-intentioned, but flawed.
From their perspective, well-intentioned. But as far as the consumer and the customer goes, nah. We've got to make your life as miserable and as difficult as possible. And look at region coding on DVDs. You know, you could buy a DVD movie while you're in America, for instance, or any other country, bring it back to your continent, say like I would bring it back to here in the UK, wouldn't play on my UK player because it's in the wrong region. Even though I paid it, you know, and paid all the royalties and everything else, I wouldn't be able to play it here because I got the wrong region.
Is it Mike or Amnon that has whoever has the Skype that I called in through? I just posted the link to that article. I didn't do it in the chat interface.
Hey, Eric, I have another solution that might help you.
Okay.
See if you can find an HDMI splitter that doesn't support the copyright protection. Because if if you can go out of the laptop into this splitter, and the splitter doesn't recognize the copy protection, then you should be able to go to a capture card and use that as almost a device to strip it. That's just an idea. I have no clue if it would actually work.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me see if I'm following you here. So take the splitter cable out of the laptop that I'm trying to send the video out from, and then just use one of the splitting it itself, you think may make the difference?
Vance Willis could absolutely answer this question. I don't know if anybody sees him pop in, we can ask him.
Because after 3 hours, I was pulling my hair out. And Mike, that's why I was trying to get in touch with you the other day.
Well, I'm not a video guy, so it's just as well you didn't get up with me, I guess.
Yeah, but I thought you'd know somebody.
Yeah, and I don't do anything with HDMI.
HDMI is not, but I think this is what they talk about as being clean output. And clean output means it's just HDMI, none of that garbage that goes along with it. And apparently that some of these have clean output and some don't. I've asked for a clear explanation of what clean HDMI output means, and that's the closest I've come.
I like the way he's got the cleanest. There's nothing.
This is interesting. Forum, avsforum.com, and somebody wrote, "Hey guys, I'm looking for an HDMI splitter, preferably one input to two outputs that is HDCP compliant." And the guy said, he says that, are you trying to get around an HDCP non-compliant computer? And he said, yes. And he says you can get it. Yeah, he says the splitter runs about $24. He said that should work.
Should, yeah.
I like the way in XSplit you can add Skype. I just click File, add Skype. It added the whole thing, and then I just cropped out. So I'm not having to do a capture of just Mike. It works really good. I like the way the XSplit handles Skype.
And you are way out of sync.
Well, that's a Skype issue, isn't it?
I'm wondering if it's because it's working hard to get that picture-in-picture. I don't know.
No, I've seen Skype do this from time to time. It'll clear up.
Wow. I hear you, but I... Talk now?
Talk now?
Well, now it's closer, but it's... Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Skype acted up like this last week with a couple times with Spence, so you never know.
Yeah, but with Spence has lower speeds, so it's possible. You got good speed.
Mm-hmm.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. Oh, so Eric hung up. Yep. So what's going on, Nick?
Not much.
Some people in the chat and in private said that we need to have a blog, so I installed WordPress for Computers 2K now, and Nick is modifying it, and when it's ready, we'll let you know so you can go and I know Mike is going to use it probably.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah, it should be a good resource after the show.
I mean, I have nothing to do with my time but stay online.
I know.
All the
That's
time,
the
writing
thing.
the blog posts.
That's the thing. It just... Mike?
Amnon, while we're talking about web issues,
yeah,
we really, really need to get a pop-out chat.
I know. I keep thinking about it during the show, and then during the week I don't remember to do it.
Because on this old computer that I'm using, even though I have the video paused on it,
right,
it's still downloading in the background.
Oh, interesting. I tell you one thing. Yeah, a pop-up will be fine, but like, I wish Andrew was still here.
Was he here?
Well, I saw him come up online. Yeah. I don't know, but like with Andrew's site and with what's the name? The
Vaughn.
No, the show that we used to participate every Friday. The one that Vance is on.
Oh, TTFN.
TTFN. I mean, with TTFN, it was a job to get the chat and the video on the same screen that you don't have to keep on going up and down, up and down, up and down.
Right.
With I didn't figure out how to do it on Andrew's site, because when you have the chat underneath the video, there is no way. I mean, it's one or the other, or half a one and full of the other, or whatever. I find the way that we're doing it side by side, the most practical way, because you watch the video and you see it, and you don't have to go up and down, left and right, and all that. But with a pop-up, Go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say the reason that works for you and not Andrew is the video from Bamboozler's 4.3. It's not 16.9. If you were to do a 16.9 broadcast with side-by-side chat, the video would be extremely small, unless you had it smushed.
But that's missing the point anyway. The two things. Number one, even on his web page, you can click on it to pop the chat out, which really opens the chat in a new browser window. Right. And you can then close the streaming window if you don't want to have to have the streaming in the background. The second thing is that his chat is IRC, so you can log in separately with a client like XChat, YChat, not even have to go to the website to get into the chat, which also allows you to free up the streaming or put it on the streaming on a different computer.
Is that the way it works?
Sure.
Well, I don't know how it works these days, but when we started the chat, that was the reason why I put the chat on the website only, because there were always people outside that will just log in and interrupt.
Nah, because that's not really going to be a problem, because it's not for Andrew. And even if it is with an IRC client, you've got a ban and kick on it that you can spread out the op responsibilities such that I'd be an op. I mean, everybody here would be an op, and then whenever someone comes in and does something stupid, you just kick and ban them, and they're gone.
All right, so let's talk about it again during the week, so I can talk to Ron and say, hey, go ahead and install it.
Do you understand how to do all that, Nick?
Yes.
It's not hard. It's like brain surgery. Once you know how to do it, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, but I don't know that Nick could get in. Nick, are you comfortable getting into a Unix shell and install stuff?
No.
Well, I wasn't suggesting that.
Linux, so.
What I'm saying is that the business of how to set it up such that people do not even have to have an account to log in. They can log in just like now.
Yeah.
You can maintain that functionality, but also they can get to it through the back end with an IRC client, and such that it'll look a little different on the web page, but not that much. Most people won't even notice the difference.
Amnon, my question is what would you have to install on the server?
The actual client. I mean, over here there's an actual, not the client. I'm sorry, the server.
Well, wouldn't you use like a third party server, or would you run an IRC server on your own network?
I would run an IRC server on our own Computers 2K now.
I mean, you can do that. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Bruce. I'm sorry.
You may not like this. I'm actually I'm on one of my websites where I've got a 16:9. My channel in Bamboozler, I've got it 16:9, and I'm using the chat that comes with Bamboozler. Now, you may not like to do that, But I've got it set up. I because of my. Well, let's see. If I go full screen, how do I do that? Forget how do you do full screen on Chrome? F11. Yeah.
Yes.
So let me scroll down. Anyway, you can see the chat. You can't tell it because of the capture I've got, but I've got chat, and this is the embedded Bamboozer chat, and it will do it over and under. And on my site, I've got it sized. I can see it all on one screen, so it's not side by side. It's over under, and it works. It works quite well.
But we don't see. We see only half of your video now.
Well, again, that's because of the. Let me change the capture.
Okay, so no. If you see the whole thing, that's one thing. Yeah, it's fine. But this is the problem that I have, and not only this, but you cannot adjust a view for everybody the way if it's up and down. Some people have 10 toolbars, some have 2.
Right.
And those that have 10, now here's half the set. But sideways, everybody is the same. Or almost the same, unless you have the favorites on the left or something.
Yeah, now here's the capture. You can see everything. So I've got chat down here.
Yeah.
I can say, good morning, Amnon. Now this is not going to be really legible in this capture. Yeah. But this is an over and under. And the other cool thing is then I can click on the chat bubble right here, and it's going to show me all the previous shows. But when I'm live, or of course I'm not live right now, but I can click on the chat button and I've got chat immediately available to me. So I like Bamboozer for a lot of reasons, and this is yet another one.
Well, I don't know. There was something about the Ustream chat that we decided not to use it. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. One of the things I don't like about this Bamboozer chat is that the font size is pretty small.
No, there is no doubt that using your own and and the other thing that's another reason why since then I wouldn't want to use that, because when we had the problem and Bamboozer went down, the chat kept on working because it was not a Bamboozer chat.
Mm-hmm.
It was our chat, so we knew that there was a problem, but people kept on talking, and we could tell people to hold on, and so it's nice. If suddenly everything disappears, that is really bad. So that's I found out since, but I remember there was something about the Ustream chat that we say, okay, forget about that. We'll just use our own, and that's what we went to.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree. A pop-out provides a lot more flexibility, and it's my preference, because I can resize the pop-out. I can put it on whichever one of my monitors that I want to,
and the other thing I remember talking about it on the show, is we wanted something that is not flash based, so everybody could see it, even on an iPad.
iOS devices.
Yeah, and what we have, the PHP free chat, is not flash based, so anybody could see that. I know that there is a new version, Mike. Mike, are you still with us?
As far as I know.
Your video just went away. That's okay.
My video went away.
Yeah, you're just showing your canned picture.
Well, I don't know why.
Well,
keep going.
I know that there is a newer version of PHP free chat, and maybe we should look at it. Maybe it does have a pop-out. Ooh, no, you're going to have to say that again a few times because we can't understand a word you're saying. Your audio is... Nah.
Hello, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, now it's okay.
Now you're back.
I think Skynet is monitoring him and is taking him out.
What did you say, Mike?
I said we can take this offline and come back to it, because the back-end accessibility Yeah, the geeks really, really prefer.
Oh yeah.
And I think that we would be better off with it if we can work it out. Eric Andrews says there are many web-based IRC clients that aren't Flash, and Eric is a hosting magnet, so we'll maybe.
I understand that, but I have a problem with these because when you get what you pay for, and when you go and get one of those and they go down, your chat is gone. You have no control over it. While if you're running it on your server and you take care of your server, then things just stay there. And it's really nothing to install an IRC server. It's really, I mean, I know because Ron did it like in 3 minutes. And I think there's still one installed there that is not operational. That the name of it was something IRC, Tiny IRC or something like that.
Now, when you say an IRC server, what exactly do you mean?
You will be what you're looking at right now. The screen, the chat screen.
Yes,
that is actually the equivalent of the client in the web page. If you look at the web page at the source, it's only 2 lines that display that.
Yeah,
there is another application in the back. That is the actual chat server, the what serves it.
Okay,
it's a PHP free chat is a program, a utility that you install on the server.
Yeah, but now the thing, so if you're talking IRC like GeekShed or IRCnet, all these big things, the only issue with those installing one on your own server is you have to maintain it all.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you get hacked in the middle of the show, you have to have somebody maintaining that IRC server 24 hours a day.
Well,
that's the only issue with running it locally because people will come after you. There's always flaws in IRC. That's why normally that you go with one of these free hosts like IRCnet or these other people because they pay people to do it all the time so that you really don't have those downtime issues.
Maybe that was the reason we went with that too. I remember talking with Eric Andrews back when.
Part of the reason we went with it is because I, at the time, knew extremely little about the subject. Now I just know little instead of extremely little. But one thing's for sure.
If this one has a pop out now in the new version, that will be the best.
Only if you set it up with an IRC channel because that needs to have back end access.
And I think somebody was telling me that you can actually connect to this one through an IRC client. I didn't like that, and we may have shut it down so people cannot do it. I don't remember, but I remember that back there were a few people that said, yeah, I'm connecting to it through my IRC client. And I said, how? I don't understand. But anyway, we'll see.
All right.
Yeah, I do have. Okay, so Eric, I mean, since you talking about, I mean, do you concur with Rick about the fact that it's to do it with a hosted, like, what is it? You told me once about Bruce Chatango.
And those are dead.
What?
There were several of those. Some of them went out of business even.
Yeah, I remember with that Chatango thing, there were a lot of problems getting in, and I always had to talk people how to get into it and what to do, and it was just too much trouble because that's how we started. Nick, what do you know about those?
Like Chatango?
Yeah, that's what you're talking about, right? That type of service.
No, I was talking like an IRC host, like somebody that offers you an IRC server or an IRC channel on their server.
Let's break it down like this. Amnon, if you go to geekshed.net and sign up for an IRC channel.
Yeah.
All right. Then once you have an account on that server, you can use that account to log into any channel that is on that server that does not require separate credentials. What that means is that, assuming I think Andrew is on Geek Shed and maybe Chase Nunes
I remember
is on Geek
seeing
Shed.
that.
All right. You go to, so once you're logged into Geek Shed, then you join the GFQ channel, or you join the I forget what exactly Chase's channel is called, but you join that, and again, assuming they don't require extra credentials, you automatically join that channel and you are participating in chat. That's what the quote unquote back end is. That's the geeky part of it. Then what these guys do to make this back end more user friendly to people who don't want to get involved with IRC is they have a web-based client that accesses and allows you to interact with that channel. And so all we're saying is getting you set up with an IRC channel is nothing. In fact, you already have one somewhere. I just don't remember where I set it up. But then all that means is that you change the web client. Instead of using PHP free chat, you go with another client on your website that accesses that channel, and it's a done deal.
Okay.
And it also gets rid of this log-in, log-out problem and all that because it's fully configurable. When people log out, they disappear from the screen.
And it is not Flash. You don't know?
No, it's
I don't
Flash.
know. What?
It's Flash.
Is there a non-Flash version available for the interface?
I believe so. I believe that there are some. You just have to look at one.
HTML5 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume there probably is. I haven't.
Eric would know.
Yeah, there's one. I think it's called. Hold on.
But since the video isn't our video Flash based anyway?
Right now it is, but it can change in a heartbeat. I mean,
yeah.
See, Eric is saying
it is, but that's what causes the problem of the CPU creaming itself all the time because Flash is just horrible. Sorry, I should say just for Bruce's benefit, Flash is rubbish.
Thank you.
Eric is saying, Amnon, I think you would be better off just managing your own. Why rely on someone else? And that's my point. You rely on somebody else. If something happens there, it goes down.
Well, we can't have chat going down. I mean, that would just be the end of the world.
I remember QWeb IRC. That's
well, it's what Eric is saying here. He says that if you run your own server, you can offer any web-based client you wanted to, including non-Flash ones. So we'll investigate that. I think we're getting a little too deep into it now, but I think that's something we should seriously consider.
I'll tell you, it sure is easy to create a chat client on that site you mentioned. I've already got code, and I'm playing with it right now.
Yeah.
But then the other side of my argument is, Andrew obviously is using it, and I never heard him complain about it.
No, I mean I use it too for mine, and my chat room's not active at all. But I've never had any downtime issues with them.
Well,
some of these guys went out of business. I forget who they were. What was the one a lot of people were using, and they were down for a week, and nobody could get up with anybody.
Oh, this was like Christmas last year.
Yeah, it was a big ugly thing.
Yeah, it was like Wild Ride.
Wow, yeah, are they gone?
No, they're still. No, they merged with another company, I think.
Oh,
but yeah, they fell.
What these do, Amnon, is these guys get out there and, with all good intentions, they offer these services for free. They get overwhelmed and have server issues. There's no money to fix them, and then they dry up.
So how did that Geek Shed is doing it?
They're a very popular host.
Yeah, but I mean, the more popular, that means the more people, the more pressure, the more updates and all that. I mean, does it cost?
No, it's completely free.
So, that's the thing is, I don't know how they can keep on going. I don't know.
Where do they get their money?
Yeah.
A rich benefactor, perhaps.
They don't pay for the servers.
Well, somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
somewhere.
but people volunteer their servers for them. Like, if you look at their servers are all around the world, and these are people that, if you go on their website, you can see who it's managed by and who gave it to them. Like, if you go to the geekshed.net/servers, you can see the one in North Virginia was donated by Phil.
Interesting.
So it's a
that's
community-funded thing, crowdsourcing sort of thing.
So that's nice.
So I'm with Eric Andrews. I think we need to look at setting up your own Amnon on your own server, which is rock solid and does not depend on community funding. And then we'll do the real homework, is how do we integrate that into the website, which I think that's going to be the only stumbling block. And between Eric and Nick, I don't think it'll be a problem.
All right, well, I have no problem with that. Okay. Anybody here works for Yahoo?
I do.
I'm a full-time employee.
I'm CEO.
Oh, you look so... Hey, Marissa. Did you hear what she did to everybody? I'm sure.
Told them she couldn't. They had to work from home or couldn't work from home.
They couldn't work from home anymore. Just send an all-hands email ending Yahoo's policy of allowing remote employees. Hundreds of workers have been given the choice. Start showing up at work at HQ, which would require relocation in many cases, or resign. She also... The what?
I am flabbergasted by this. This was just so out of nowhere, because the trend has been, I'm in a business that sells mobile collaboration.
Yeah.
And now this is like, nope, everybody in the office.
She also has been putting her stamp on Yahoo's new homepage, which was rolled out Wednesday. So she's getting involved with everything. But I always thought that the reason why they let people work from home is not just because it's better for the person, but it's a lot less expenses. No heating, no office space, no utilities, and all that kind of stuff in the office. Yahoo can move into a one-room office somewhere and pay $500 a month instead of having a whole huge building, and everybody's working from home.
Well, did you hear the reason, the justification that's been bouncing around as people talk about this?
No, why?
Well, they said that people who work at home are more productive but less creative. People who work in an office are more creative but less productive. That's what they're citing. So at Nortel, when Nortel was at its peak, they encouraged you to work at home. They bought office furniture for you. They said it saved them over $9,000 a year per employee for you to work at home.
Right.
And that included the cost of a phone line, of a internet connection, and paying for furniture for your home office. They wanted you to work at home.
What well-known company has 40% of their employees working remotely?
Google.
Intel.
Yep.
Intel.
Well, did you see the numbers on Yahoo? There weren't that many people working at home, apparently.
And Intel is not innovative at all. They're not creative, are they?
Stodgy old dusty company.
I'll just go and make a cup of coffee. Oh, I know what I could do. I could implement that new idea on that thing for that chip.
And then our buddy Mayor Doomberg up there in New York gets in on it too and says, "Oh, I agree with her wholeheartedly. Telecommuting is stupid."
Your audio is going away too, Spence.
Oh. But he says he makes a comment. Telecommuting is stupid. Let's invite more people to drive into Manhattan or commute into Manhattan.
Yeah.
Great. It's BYOD now, isn't it? That's what they're expecting everybody to do, bring their own device to work. So, well, in that case, that means you've got to come to work. So, yep, you can't work at home anymore. Because this BYOD is the new in-word.
I mean, there's so many things. I mean, if you're sick, you can still work from home. Well, if you work from the office and you're sick, you're going home and you say, I'm not going to do anything as far as work.
Well, it goes a little further than that, Amnon. Because
I know.
Because of my office, the way we have things set up, I mean, our laptops with our VPNs and so forth, we can be totally productive anywhere in the world that has an internet service sufficient to support a VPN. Now, what that means is I telecommute 1 day a week, and quite candidly, I would not want to do more than 1 day a week at home. It's very productive for me because there's a lot of reading and studying that I put off until Fridays because in my position, I'm constantly interrupted at the office. That's what I'm there for. Here, I'm not interrupted as much, so by segregating the work in that manner, I can really get the best out of the 1 day per week. But that being said, one of the things that I feel strongly about, and I don't know, sometimes you just don't hear enough about it, is that with this telecommuting business, sometimes you're sick to the point of being contagious, but you're not too sick that you really don't want to get your work done so that it doesn't pile up on you. So in my mind, if you feel like you're contagious with all this cold and nonsense is going around and you want to work and you feel like, if you're sick, you take a sick day. But if you're not sick enough to take a sick day and you want to work from home, it makes a lot of sense to me because one problem with closed offices is people bringing in all these germs and half the people get sick and it's lost productivity to the company. So there are benefits to it. I mean, I personally like the office a lot warmer than a lot of people do. When I'm working at home, I get to control my own thermostat. Mm-hmm. I'm more comfortable, and I can cook along, no pun intended, at a much better pace on a lot of things. So I think it's a happy mix. To say that telecommuting is all bad or all good, I think it varies by the company, it varies by the job, and it absolutely varies by the individual. There are always some people who are going to abuse the system, and that is they don't do anything whenever they're telecommuting. But if you have that problem, that tells me the manager is not properly signing the work or monitoring the performance of the employee.
You get found out pretty quick.
It will. You can't hide it forever. That's a fact if your company is properly run.
So I guess we can think of a few jobs that would not be good for telecommuting, like professional baseball and football.
Surgeons
probably wouldn't work too good.
No.
Well, as most of you know, I manage a remote team. I'm trying to figure out the best way to share this with you. Yeah, here you go. So the thing about let me see if I can slide this over a little bit about the productivity is true. My team, there are 3 teams that do what my team does. Mine being one of them. Our on-the-phone time, contact rate, productivity, temps per hour is higher than any of the other 2 teams. But to say that my team is not as creative, we use Skype, and I do a group chat called the Water Cooler. That's what I named it. And if I scroll through here, you can see all the people of my team, of which there are 15, and you're looking at 7 days worth of chat here. But this is where we socially interact. This is where we do Q&A, questions and answer. And if I have something come up that I want to share with them right away, all I got to do is click that green button, call group. It rings them all up, and we're all on an audio call because you can't have more than 10 on Skype Premium. And why would I use Skype Premium when I can use Zoom.us, which is better? But anyway, but this is where we interact, and a lot of great ideas are submitted in the Skype chat where somebody says, hey, I just discovered a new trick or new tip that you can do with our software or whatever. And they post that in the chat and everybody gets it real time. But we're not being bothered like you are in Cube City, where a lot of people just banter around and idle chit chat, and managers have to, quote, walk the floor to make sure that people aren't whiling away time looking at checking their Facebook and Google Plus and stuff like that. So, I think obviously she's the CEO. She had the right to make this decision. I think the way she made this decision, the manner that she chose to do it, and didn't seem to indicate that this was not going to be a permanent thing. If her reason is to try to rebuild the culture that is Yahoo and build some camaraderie and then release those people to go back after 3 months, a quarter, something like that, then that's fine. But those are just my thoughts.
Let's just watch this, because I have a theory about that, being the negative guy that I am accused of being sometimes. I wonder if it's not an attempt on Yahoo's part to get a bunch of people to quit.
Oh, that was already, I already heard that opinion. Somebody said this is a way of driving people out without paying them severance.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Because there's no doubt in my mind, and not just my company, but people I know who are able to work from home, and some of them, I mean, some people work better at home than they do in the office. I don't. I work better at the office than I do at home just because of the environment. I mean, you can have distractions at home, you can have distractions at the office. The mix works really well for me. But that being said, I know of people who telecommute. If their company required them to start coming into the office, even that one extra day a week, there's no doubt in my mind these people would be looking for new jobs.
Yeah, and that there's a great book called Good to Great. I'm trying to remember the author of it right now.
I have it, and I've had it for a couple. Yeah,
Jim Collins, and in that book he talks about getting the right people in the right seats on the bus. And you're exactly right. Not everybody is cut out to be a telecommuter. And if some, I've seen companies where they say, oh, okay, this is the latest, greatest thing. We're going to have people work from home, and they don't vet them as to their level of self-discipline and entrepreneurial thinking and organizational skills and so forth. And if you don't research and get people who are best suited for working at home, and you put them in a home environment, it's counterproductive. And then you got a host of HR problems, because then you got to move them back and they get upset and everything else like that. So do your homework, do your research, and make sure the person who manages them knows what they're doing when it comes to managing a virtual team.
Because if you're in a business where the manager is a clock watcher, it's probably not a good thing, because I work with a bunch of people who telecommute, and I know one lady, and not in my department, who sometimes will get up and start working at 5:30 in the morning. She only works 8 hours for the day. I mean, that's all she's asked to work. She might get up at 5:30 in the morning and work until 7:30 when she has to get her kids off to school.
Right.
So she might be, when she normally would be at work on that day, she might be getting her kids off to school as kind of a luxury. But this lady is so excellent at what she does, the fact that she, on her own, is given the authority to adjust her work schedule and her telecommuting day, who cares? If she were to goof off 6 of those 8 hours, when she got back to the office on Monday, she would still have the exact same amount of work to do and the same amount of pressure to get it out. So she can't cheat the system.
Is she hourly or salaried?
No, salaried.
Yeah, right. Little more complicated when you have hourly people. Of course, we use software. Forgive me, Spencer. Cisco Agent Desktop. the people log in and records.
I think hourly just isn't suited for telecommuting.
It is if the hourly people are diligent about recording their time.
Well, or if it's a call center where they're a remote agent or something like that.
Right, where they're logged in.
They're monitoring everything that they do.
Right, and that's what my team does. They log in, they log out, they take breaks and so forth. And at the end, like this Friday, I'll approve their time and I'll check to make sure that they're not more than 80 hours because our pay period's every 2 weeks.
It's been so long since I've been an hourly employee. It's probably been, when I started working for IBM, we were theoretically salaried employees. We would get overtime. But it's been 30 years since I've been on an hourly wage. Just expected to do what you're expected to do.
Yep.
Which I think gives you tremendous freedom, because there are times when I'll work late or when I was traveling a lot, my day was usually up really early in a hotel, get to whatever it was I was doing the entire day, meetings, lunches with people, traveling that evening to the next location, doing email late into the evening, up the next morning, early, the same thing over. And I would have an 80-hour week. But then the next week I might be home and I could, take advantage and have a few hours in the afternoon and do something different.
Well, things need to balance out. I mean, this week I was traveling, and when you consider when you're traveling for business, technically you're working every minute. You're not able to drive home, which makes it 24/7. But being realistic about it, I mean, whenever you leave for the airport, your day starts. Whenever you go to your hotel room and start watching TV, your day stops, even though you're not at home. That being said, it makes for very, very long days. That's just part of the game. I mean, that just goes with it. It's if you're an hourly employee, you actually get to clock that time in. Theoretically, you may even be able to clock in some of the time you're watching TV, but when you're salaried, you just get the job done. Alan made the comment is that he said, quote, "You were away from your desk for 2 minutes. What were you doing?" unquote. And he says that got really irritating really quickly. If you're working for a company, this is my opinion, if you work for a company that has that mindset and it's offensive to you and you're doing your job and do not deserve to be monitored that way, you need to look for a new job because you're not going to change the culture of the company.
I've worked
with our software, we have a certain number of breaks, like if you have to go to the restroom, you just click on a button and it gives you 5 minutes and you come back and so forth. But ultimately, it's your responsibility. If you're goofing around, like we had a bunch of people, they would take a 15-minute break. This is on the in-house side, and they'd go to the break room and play ping pong. And instead of taking a 15-minute break, they'd be there for 30 minutes, and then they would come back, and that hurts your productivity. You're on the phone time, and so ultimately, at the end of the week, or mid-month, or at the end of the month, when Performance Engineering runs a productivity report and your on the phone time is less than 30%, which is the absolute minimum for our team, then you're going to have issues. If your phone time is under 30%, they may keep you out of the general calling queue, which is where you get new leads, which is where you get sales, which is where you earn comp on top of your hourly wage. So, it's to your benefit to do your work well.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype.
But Bruce, I don't have a problem with a system like that as long as it is A, made very clear up front, and B, it is fair to everyone. That's the way the system operates.
Right.
You were going to say, Spence?
Oh, I was going to say, my first few jobs, full-time jobs, were hourly, watch over your shoulder. The horn goes off. The very first hourly job I had that was full-time was working for Grumman Aerospace on the wiring line. And that was literally a horn would go off and you had 4 minutes to go get a cup of coffee and come back to your workstation. And if you didn't, you were, why aren't you at your desk? And I realized then, that's when I said, this is before I started going back to school, I said, I ain't going to do this the rest of my life. I am not going to be one of these people that sits here and clocks in and clocks out. And when I got the job at IBM, I was a few years on hourly until I got to a salaried position, and that's where I have to be. I can't be one of those people.
Well, I say the same thing. I mean, I won't say I will never do it because I'm going to do whatever I have to do to take care of my family and
absolutely
and pay the mortgage. If that means sweep the floor, I'm not too good to sweep the floor if that's what needs to be done. I have done it and we'll do it again, but I will assure you that if it's within my power to have an arrangement other than that, then that's the other arrangement I will pursue.
I remember the initial training I took at IBM. I went to Lexington, Kentucky for 3 weeks, and part of the end of the training was to get a tour of the plant where they manufactured typewriters and copiers and things like that. And I remember going, what's that?
Abacuses.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they built Selectrics and memory typewriters and other things. But we were there I was in what they call advanced products in the office products division. My first job was fixing copiers, which were really just big electromechanical boxes. There wasn't much electronics in it. But the point was that we got a tour of the factory, and I remember walking along, and there were people working, and I talked to this one man who was taking Selectric typewriters that were being final assembled, he would put it together before it went into the case. And he saw him do this thing where he put on what they call tilt tapes, which were the little little thin pieces of metal that would slide back and forth to control the position of this electric ball. People probably have no idea what I'm talking about when I talk about a Selectric typewriter.
I do. I have one.
But I mean, they're excellent. It was the first typewriter that had a ball with the characters in relief on the ball that would strike the paper at different angles to type. There weren't arms popping up. But the point was, I watched this man put these tapes on, and I had seen people in training struggle to learn how to do that, and it would take them 20 minutes, a half hour to replace those tapes. He did it in like 3 seconds. It was incredible to watch him do it. So I said to you, so what do you do? And he said, well, I do this. I said, how long have you been doing this? 14 years. I love my job. And I looked at the guy who was next to me, and I was like, I said, I'm just not cut that way. I did assembly line work for about a year, and I'm just like, nah, not going to be me.
Time Warner. Where was it? And I don't know if you can, where did I see this? Shoot. Now I lost it. Oh. Chris Welch at The Verge saying that speaking at the Morgan Stanley Technology Conference moments ago, and this is from last week, Time Warner Cable's chief financial officer, Irene Estevez, seemed dismissive of the impact Google Fiber is having on consumers. We're in the business of delivering what consumers want and to stay a little ahead of what we think they want. She said when she was asked about the breakneck internet speeds delivered by Google's young Kansas City network. We just don't see the need of delivering that to consumers. And the article goes on to quote her, residential customers have thus far shown little interest in Time Warner Cable's top internet tiers. A very small fraction of our customer base ultimately chose those options. So they're saying we don't do gigabit because people are not asking for it.
Yeah, well, let Google set up and let alternative sources become available and watch them change their tune. That they're just being naive, and this is something that Nick and I have dealt with in the past couple of weeks on some things we've been testing, and that is that it's unfortunate that what we as techies and geeks want is, in fact, a very, very small part of the overall audience. I venture a guess that most people, the average person, has no clue how fast their internet is at home.
They don't.
Yeah, it takes a little too long.
Right, they don't know.
So the question then becomes, I mean, look at Spence. Spence, you haven't upgraded to the latest and greatest even on Time Warner, have you?
No, so I'm still waiting for other things to happen in the neighborhood. I'm still trying to get Uverse for television, and we're getting closer.
People have no idea what speed they have. The only thing is they complain about buffering.
Right, but I would argue that what's going to happen, and of course, who knows what's going to happen here, because I don't see any relief unless this consortium that I sent this information to you about Amnon, unless it gets some traction. I mean, we're screwed here. But what's going to happen is that a lot of people, as they watch the buffering on YouTube and on Netflix, on their Rokus and their DVD players, they're going to say, what's wrong with this? Why is this not working? When they find out it's because their 7 megabit download is not adequate for what they want to watch, then they start complaining, and they will sort of indirectly learn more about internet speeds. But what will be the real crux of the thing is that if people travel to the homes of someone who has gigabit internet and they start watching 4K with no buffering or no issues, they'll say, wow, why can't I have that? And then they may do some homework and find out. I mean, people don't miss what they don't know they can get.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just at one point it's being naive on Time Warner's part. At on another level, it's just being disingenuous.
Have you seen their new commercials where they're pushing, I don't want to have issues with my internet speed, so I need to upgrade to the faster Time Warner. So you're saying that your slower service isn't that good?
All right.
I thought it was kind of weird.
And you know what's the other thing that strikes me about those latest commercials there? And plans are starting at $19.95 for 2 years. No long-term commitment is required. What is 2 years? Is this becoming to be a short-term commitment?
I guess so.
It is whatever they want it to be. I guess.
And here's something else, and maybe somebody can explain to me what's bad thing about that. Automakers aren't too happy about the recent U.S. Federal Communication Commission proposal, which uses part of the wireless spectrum assigned to vehicle-to-vehicle technology for Wi-Fi instead. The FCC announced that it plans to free up 195 megahertz of spectrum in the 5 gigahertz band for unlicensed use in an effort to address the U.S. spectrum crisis. This would potentially lead to Wi-Fi speeds faster than 1 gigabit per second. What's wrong?
If Time Warner doesn't have fast internet, it doesn't matter.
What does that have to do with Time Warner?
I'm saying so you can get these faster speeds, but if like you're saying with Time Warner just said they don't care about supporting 1 gigabit, then it doesn't matter how fast you can get the speeds. Because if you don't have internet fast enough, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay,
I mean, if this were an issue we really wanted to pursue, you know what you could do? You could take that article, interview someone with Time Warner in Kansas City without letting them know what you're interviewing them, why you're interviewing them. You'd get a completely different take than that article is telling you. I have seen articles from Time Warner in Kansas City where it says the competitive pressure is very high. They certainly are having to up their service and keep their prices in check. As I recall, the 1 gigabit internet in Kansas City is either $59 or $69 a month. For Time Warner to say, we haven't seen anyone interested in our upper tier service, Time Warner provides 30 megabit up and down for $800 a month. So I don't think that people are going to get 30 up and down from Time Warner for $800 a month when they can get it from gigabit from Google for $59.
Of course.
I mean, it's just insane.
But if there's no pressure, if there's no fiber in the area, then Time Warner doesn't have to worry, do they?
I don't know. Depends on how it works out, I guess. Anyway, are we going to do specials?
Spence, you've been away from your desk. What were you doing?
I just got up to walk away.
Spence, you got up. What were you doing?
I was going to get a cup of coffee.
You were not at your desk.
I was not at my desk. That's right. I'm going to get docked. I didn't click the button to check out.
Infraction.
Well, give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back with my steaming cup of hot coffee. And
all right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Steaming cup is better than steaming pie.
Listen to this. Judge Lucy Coe has just delivered a serious blow to Cupertino in the Apple versus Samsung's legal saga, cutting the damages awarded to the company down to $598 million and ordering a new trial to determine the remaining balance. I remember Mike saying that the judge is the one who's going to decide what to do with that, what the damage is going to be, right?
Is this the Samsung trial?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I hadn't even heard it.
In an order this morning, Coe stated that the court identified an impermissible legal theory on which the jury based its award, and as such was reducing the original $1.049 billion award to Apple in the trial on August verdict. Coe also ordered that a new trial take place to determine new damages for the amount she cut. $450 million to be precise.
Well, that's unfortunate because of all of the lawsuits Apple is losing elsewhere. It's going to need the money to pay those other judgments.
Well, they were saying that the way that the jury came up with that number was based on how much money does Samsung makes. That's why she cut it back. She said, no, that's impermissible. And
even when they did the original damages calculation, they had an erroneous line item in the calculation, and the judge had to knock it down on the day of the verdict. So that's probably what they're saying, that one of the arguments that Samsung was making is that the spreadsheet, the chart they used to calculate the damages was not even correct, assuming that Apple was right and everything prevailed in everything.
Well, and Mike, this is something else for you. According to Law 360 HR 845, the Saving High-Tech Innovators from Egregious Legal Dispute, egregious,
yep,
which is the acronym is SHIELD, Act of 2013, would require non-practicing entities that lose in patent litigation to pay the full legal cost of accused infringers. The new bill would define a non-practicing entity as a plaintiff that is neither the original inventor or assignee of a patent, and that has not made its own substantial investment in exploiting the patent.
Yeah, there's a whole lot about that. That's going to be a slippery slope because one of the things that happens is that a lot of universities create inventions, but then they do not actually use it. They might invent a drug in a lab at a university, but then they never manufacture the drug. What does that make them? An NPE, a non-practicing entity. A lot of people tried to it would, in fact, originally NPE or non-practicing entity was another name for a patent troll.
Yeah,
all of a sudden, universities were being accused of being patent trolls, so they immediately scrambled to come up with a new definition that would exclude them from being patent trolls, even though they are, in fact, NPEs. It's a very interesting area.
It says, notably, once a party is deemed to be an NPE early in the litigation, they will be required to post a bond to cover the defendant's litigation costs before going forward. So in case they lose, they pay the other side.
Yeah. Actually, right? Randall Rader, the chief judge of the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit, is actually advocating for that system. And he has a lot of detractors and he has a lot of supporters for the position.
Now, can it be done any kind of different way that will still you're trying to discourage people from just going for it, thinking, well, we got the money.
It's so much more complicated than that. I mean, I've got some unpopular opinions about it because to me a patent is personal property. What you do with your personal property should be your personal business. If you want to go out and buy a bunch of patents and enforce them, who says that's good, bad, or indifferent? I know what the argument is against being a patent troll, and I certainly don't advocate that people abuse the legal system. Some patent trolls do, in fact, abuse the legal system. I do think we need to be more careful whom we accuse of being a patent troll, though. That's my point. I've got to step away for a moment. We can pick this up again at some point.
All right, that's fine. 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. Steve, you back? No, not yet. Nick, you still here?
I'm still here.
All right. Any idea when that thing is going to be ready, the blog? A week, 2 weeks?
It can be ready. I need to talk. Are you going to be around tonight?
Yeah, but I'm doing the show from 8 till 9.
Okay. I'll send you a message before that because I have a question I want to clear up before it's basically done. I just have a couple questions I want to clear up before I push it out.
No problem. And I see we have Spence. Looks like he's ready for the specials.
Yeah, I've gotten really. Running up the stairs, I got really pale. I wasn't prepared for all this exercise. Okay, so starting with, and I'll say, I had predicted a while. I wouldn't say predicted, but I guessed a few weeks ago or months ago that you'd be seeing a huge change in the amount of touchscreen laptops out there. Well, it's happened, and they're everywhere, and the prices are coming down. I was just looking at some of the numbers on Windows 8, and they are growing, not as fast as Windows 7, but it was different circumstances. Windows 7 was there to fix a major problem. But the numbers are ticking upwards, and as prices come down, I think it will be adoption will be much higher. I think it's like 2.8% now of operating systems are Windows 8. Interesting. Okay, starting with staples. i3 touchscreen laptops, laptop 11.6 inch starting at $449, 15.6 inch starting at $579. Still cheaper than an Ultrabook, which is good. So 23-inch Acer all-in-one touchscreen computer. This is a monitor, all-in-one monitor-based computer, $849. That's a touchscreen. And a 32-gig Microsoft Surface. This is the original one, not the Surface Pro, $499. I guess that still hadn't changed much price-wise. I don't think it's come down. You still have to buy, if you want to buy the keyboard, the click keyboard, you have to pay extra for that. Logitech MK320 wireless keyboard and mouse, $29. That's $10 off. I actually have that on order with Amazon because I only had one wireless keyboard when I was moving things around here, and I realized I'd spilled coffee on one a while back, and it never recovered. So I needed another one. I've got one coming through Amazon. 20-inch HP LED monitor for $89. That's $30 off the regular price. AOC 51.5-inch LED for $109. That's $40 off. Brother wireless laser printer with duplex, $109. Save $40. That's at Staples. At Office Max, wireless HP all-in-one inkjet printer for $69. They've got the Epson Artisan printer scanner fax copier color inkjet. Now, Artisan implies that it's a high-end printer with duplex printing for inkjet, $129, and that's $150 off the regular price. So if this is truly a high-end printer for that price, they're knocking that much money off. Either it's not selling well or it's a closeout or something, but it could be a really good printer. A 20-inch LED monitor for $99, 23-inch for $129, 24-inch for $149. They've got a Lenovo 21.5-inch touchscreen all-in-one computer for $469. That's actually a pretty good deal. I'm not sure what the processor is on that. It's probably not a high-end processor, but if you want to have the Windows 8 experience touchscreen inexpensively, that's a good way to go. That's at Office Max. At Office Depot, they've got a 16-gig Asus 10.1-inch quad-core Android tablet for $299. They've got a wireless HP printer scanner copier inkjet with duplex for $99. That's $30 off. A wireless Brother business all-in-one inkjet. You've actually seen this advertised on television on some of the news channels. I'm surprised. They're pushing this printer. With full duplex and 11 by 17 printing and high-yield ink cartridges. $149, save $50. They've got something called the Lenovo Yoga i3 Ultrabook. Now, this is an Ultrabook. It's I don't think it's a very big screen. I can go back and look. I didn't write it down here, but it shows flip, fold, and prop. You can have different configurations. It looks like a laptop, looks like a tablet, looks like a tent on the table. 128 gig solid state drive with 4 gig of memory. $999, save $200. So I guess this would be considered high end, but it's apparently a very nice slimline device. Runs Windows 8. Samsung 23-inch LED monitor for $149, save $50. Western Digital Passport portable hard drive, 1 terabyte for $89, 2 terabytes for $149. They've got a Western Digital N600 dual band wireless router for $49, and that comes with a USB port, so you can share either a hard drive or a flash drive on the network using this router. $49. D-Link day-night wireless webcam, $99, and that comes with remote view for iPhone as an application, so you can monitor this camera using your iPhone. And Android also. That's at Office Depot. At Best Buy, they've got a 1.5 terabyte Passport USB 3.0 portable hard drive for $89. That's probably the best price of a portable drive out there for the size I've seen today. That's $40 off, $89. i3 touchscreen laptop starting at $449. They've got a 15.6-inch HP i3 laptop, 4 gig of memory, 500 gig hard drive that is not a touchscreen for $379. Touchscreen all-in-one computers from $699. Acer 20-inch LED for monitor for $89. They've got the Microsoft Wireless Desktop 800 for $29, save $10. That's at Best Buy. Continuing with Best Buy, 3 terabyte USB 3.0 hard drive, $139. 2 terabyte. Oh, I can't read my own handwriting. I'm sorry. Cloud drive. Look like clicked drive. I write it so fast. 2 terabyte cloud drive for $149. That's a network drive. Just a fancy name for a network drive, but it does allow remote access. 500 gig 2.5 inch SATA drive, laptop drive, $59. Save $10. That's at Best Buy. And finally, at Tiger Direct, Acer 23-inch LED monitor for $109. That's 20 off. 20-inch monitor for $89. A 24-inch monitor for $149. They've still have the HP laptop I spoke about a few weeks ago. It's an i7 laptop, brand new, 15.6-inch i5, 4 gig of memory, 500 gig hard drive. And it's got it's Windows 7 boot with Windows 8 option. Now, what that means, I looked that up. It actually is a Windows 7 machine that has an upgrade to Windows 8 actually built into the machine. So you can choose to do it at a later date. You don't have to buy the upgrade. And that sells for $579. So if you're in the market for a decent laptop, HP i5 laptop, it's a pretty good price. They've got on sale an AMD 6-core Phenom 2 processor for $99. That's $30 off. If you want to build a new machine. USB 3.0 flash drives. And I do have one that's a 3.0, and it does make a significant difference writing large files. I have a 32 gig. 16 gig for $25, 32 gig for $40, 64 gig for $70. They have Kingston DDR3 desktop memory, 4 gig for $19.99, 8 gig for $34.99. They've got Corsair DDR3 laptop memory, 4 gig for $17.99, 8 gig for $34.99, and those are both with mail-in rebates. LG Blu-ray DVD RW combo drive, and that means that it will play Blu-ray, but will also be a DVD burner and play DVDs for $49. That's an internal drive. They've got a Netgear 5-port gigabit switch for $39 after mail-in rebate. That's at Tiger Direct. And finally, one item at HH, Greg, that might be of interest. It is a 7-inch generic, not sure what brand, I don't even mention the brand name, 4-gig Android tablet for $79. So if you're looking for an inexpensive tablet, kind of at that price, you use it for a year and throw it away. But if it does what you need it to do, it's probably not the latest version of Android, but certainly a good price at H.H. Gregg. And that is it.
That's everything.
Everything.
Oh, well.
Everything.
That's pretty good. What was that?
What was what?
I don't know. I heard like somebody was laughing.
Oh, that was me wiping off the bottom. I actually switched to a stand for my microphone. Oops, you couldn't hear me when I moved the mic. I actually switched to the stand from the boom setup I had. I cleaned up my office. I was trying to declutter. So I said, well, let me try this for a while. Now that I have room under the desk that I'm not restricted, my old setup had a shelf under my desk, under my table, where I couldn't slide in all the way and I couldn't really get that comfortable and have the table stand microphone work well. So now that I've got plenty of room to move around and sit here properly, I think it'll work well. It's the boom tended to take up a lot of space in my office.
Nine 518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype. And I see Nick left. Steve, are you back? He's not. Still.
Everybody left.
Nom, nom,
oh, he's
nom,
yes.
Yum,
yum, yum. Bon appetit.
I thought he was taking out the rubbish.
Garbage.
Out to the ash bin, as they would call it, right?
I was
yeah. Dr. John asked an interesting question in the chat about has anyone tried IE10 for Windows 7 yet? And of course that's one of the stories and among many outlets. You could run a beta version or an early release version of it, but Microsoft's IE10 browser is coming to Windows 7. So I use it on my laptop right now from time to time. I'm still using Chrome primarily, but the version of Internet Explorer 10 that I run on my Windows 7 machine seems to run fine.
I'm liking Chrome more and more. Mm-hmm. I've been using it for work now because Firefox is driving me crazy with their repetitive updates. And every time it updates, I have to reload the VPN software that we use, the client, and it always takes 2 or 3 restarts to get it to work right. So I've started to use Chrome because Chrome seems to install the client very quickly and doesn't have the crazy update schedule that Firefox has. I'm waiting for IE7 on Windows 10, not IE10 on Windows 7.
Mm-hmm. That'll be a wait.
Yep.
It's an interesting story. Guy Kawasaki, I don't know if you've heard about this yet, but he was a former, I guess you'd almost refer to an Apple evangelist. But he's now taken a job advising cell phone manufacturer Motorola, who's now, of course, owned by Google. He'll be focusing on product design, user interface, marketing, social media. It's going to be interesting to see what difference his experience at Apple and the Macintosh world in general will make in future Google phones. Of course, most people are familiar with Guy Kawasaki.
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan?
No.
Seth Godin?
Not a fan.
Michael Hyatt?
Well, back up a step. Seth Godin, I'm not a fan of him. He has written some very good materials.
Mm-hmm.
About half of his stuff is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Hyatt, I really don't know much about him, but these guys are into a little internet circle that I tend to kind of steer clear of. It's like some of these podcasting consultants, quote unquote, out there who are using insurance salesman techniques to lure people in to spend money with them to teach them things that they ultimately will probably never use.
And Michael Hyatt's a great guy. I know him. He's a former CEO of Thomas Nelson Publishing, so
right.
He's a pretty sharp fellow.
Yeah, I really don't know much about him. You hear a lot about him, but I don't know anything about it. And these other guys, again, it's nothing. I'm not accusing them of anything. I'm just saying that they're in a different zone than we are. Mm-hmm. They're after a little different market than I'm in.
I'm sorry. I'm reading about pop out. This for the chat, and this guy here says that he wrote a plugin to make PHP free chat pop out. Interesting.
So, Bruce, I registered for FlixPress an hour and a half ago. I still haven't gotten my response yet. Email response, so I can. So I guess that on Sunday either they don't have the server running, or they may do each individual registration. They might look it over before they actually send you back the.
Yeah, I got mine within 10 minutes or so, I believe.
Yeah, probably because it's Sunday. Maybe they don't have it working, but cool stuff.
Yeah,
I really like that. I mean, it's affordable if you get the free registration, but you can buy there's some free templates and some other templates that are just $1, $2, $3 that are really nice.
Yeah.
And they have one that's a business template that's $70. It's a pro ad, it's called. That was multi-person ad, which I was impressed. My gosh, this is
you know what you would have
$70.
Yeah, you know what you would have to pay off the shelf to get that kind of an ad through a designer or whatever. It'd be hundreds of dollars.
Oh, I'm sure, maybe more, because you'd have to shoot the video.
Right.
Shoot the video.
Hey, we should do that. We should use that and make our own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of us, we'll just record ourselves and get. That could be fun.
Well, there's even another one that's not that expensive that would be great, where you could do some screen caps. It's got like 6 photos in it. I'm trying to remember which one that is.
Let's see.
Oh, well.
But very nice quality, and I think I hope they're successful. I don't know how long they've been around, but it looks like they got some nice stuff. I hope they make some money and stick around.
Off topic. Spence and I had some fun Friday. We went out shooting.
Shooting?
We went out shooting. So I finally had a chance to shoot my new AR-15. That was nice. But
and I was amazed that the AR-15 recoil was less than my old 30-30 hunting rifle that I haven't shot in 25 years.
It's a bigger bullet.
Oh, what? No, but it's also computer designed. Mine has no. It's not a semi-automatic. It's a lever action. So there is no built-in. There's nothing. The recoil on the AR-15 is used to eject, so it absorbs some of the impact just right in that. Whereas this other gun was just all of the recoil went into your shoulder. So I was a little sore the next day.
Yeah, one of the ones, Spence, you might be interested in is called Tech Puzzle T3. That's got it's got some interesting things with it. Let's see here.
I just signed up for Flix Press and already gotten my confirmation.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still waiting. I mean,
did you check your spam folder?
Actually, I printed the screen that said, "Thank you for registering. You will receive your response soon," and it had the email address that I used. Okay, if that's what they think about.
Check your spam folder.
No, this is going to one of my anonymous email addresses.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. It would go right there.
So I'm signed up now.
I'm going to have to go and.
Just since you started talking about it a few minutes ago.
Well, all right. I'll do it again. I'll use a less anonymous email address. Maybe they looked at that and said, "This isn't legit."
What, aren't you using the Earthlink Anonymous?
Yeah, that's what I'm using.
Yeah. Yeah, those names I'm sure they're pretty well known. If they don't add new domain names periodically, the websites will catch up with them.
Yeah, I've been using them for a while. They all end the same, so it's not like I can change the @ part of it. So, yeah, I'll try. They probably blocked it because of that.
I used a Gmail account.
Yeah, I'm going to go. In fact, that's what I have. 2 Gmails, one for general use and one for registering. Mm-hmm. I'll use my registering address. Very interesting.
I appreciate you telling us about this, Bruce. I really needed something else to do with my time.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of them are quite interesting, like this one here, for instance. Now that one would be $3.
You can, by the way, while we're on the topic, you can get a lot of these done for $5 on Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, which is in and of itself an amazing site. It's amazing what people will do for $5.
Mm-hmm.
I know, for example, Nick even posted some consulting for WordPress, and that is if there's an issue with, what is it, the PowerPress plugin?
Nick is not here.
I know, but I'm asking you guys. But the PowerPress plugin that allows you to play your podcast audio directly from your WordPress blog site. One of the popular plugins to do that is called PowerPress by your buddy Todd Cochran.
Right.
It's apparently a very, very good product. But it's one of those things that it's very confusing to set it up unless you're kind of a guru at this stuff. But once you understand it, it's apparently fairly trivial to solve it. So he posted that for $5 he would solve your PowerPress plugin problems. I don't know if he had any takers, but that's one instance where, I mean, it's probably worth $50 to have somebody do that for you, and here someone is willing to do it for $5, and so in that case, it's a very good offer. And the idea, of course, is to build relationships with people. If you do something for somebody for $5, which means really a courtesy, if you do it for them for free and you want to sell them something else, if they like you and you're going to have direct contact with them, if you like them, they like you, then you've got an opportunity to create a relationship.
I would still love to have some kind of video server installed that we could do the show without the help of Bamboozer.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up again, because I was thinking the same thing, because with Stickum going out of business, with these CDNs getting closer and closer, the free ones getting closer and closer to paid models, and their paid pricing being unreasonable as far as I'm concerned for someone in our area. I mean, if you're CBS, it's probably dirt cheap. If you're Computers 2K Now, it's prohibitively expensive, and it just doesn't seem to me that the scaling is accurate.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
But it would be interesting because, I mean, I know it's a lot of work because you have to be able to support the iOS, you have to the BlackBerry and all that. So I know that that's an issue, but I wonder You hear about Wowza, which I believe isn't that a Flash server? Then there are other software, other servers. Some of them are free, some of them are for pay. So I mean, it's not a trivial task to do it. I don't think.
Not at all.
Well, it's the first time I've been to Fiverr.com. Thank you. That's
really
kind of interesting. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Now your Sunday shot.
There you go.
I just tried to re-register for FlixPress, and I tried to use the same username on the first time. It says username already exists. So apparently I just haven't gotten a response back, but they did register me.
Try logging in with what you said as your login credentials.
I will. Well, I guess I could try that.
And see if it'll say give you an option to resend the authorization email.
Let me give it a try.
What is that site?
Which one?
That you're talking about?
FlixPress.com. The one I'm talking about is Fiverr, FIVERR.com. Steve, what have you gotten? Steve Lee, our buddy Steve Lee is here. What have you gotten through Fiverr?
That doesn't do much. If we don't see it, it doesn't help. All right. Was that you, Bruce?
What?
Doing that?
Playing the music.
No.
Wasn't me.
I wasn't potted through.
So I can't log in. It's asking me for my verification code, which I haven't received, so I can't do that.
Well,
I bet you it's a problem with Earthlink. I wouldn't be surprised if their system is screwed up.
Now here's something. Google is bringing a quick office viewer to its new high-end Chromebook Pixel, with full editing ability expected within 3 months. According to TechCrunch, Quick Office on Chromebooks comes courtesy of native client. If Chromebooks prove a hit and Google ports Quick Office onto devices other than the ultra high-priced Chromebook Pixel, could that mean the beginning of the end of Microsoft Office market dominance of the productivity software space? While Microsoft has been pushing into the cloud with software like Office 365, that's also Google's home territory. But can Google actually disrupt the game? Now, I don't know. It seems like we had a few suites like that as far as free, Open Office, and nothing really disrupted Microsoft Office's dominance. Even Google Apps, which quite a few people are using, but it's still not it's not changing anything. What do you guys think?
Well, Quick Office Pro, and you can see it running on my Samsung Galaxy Note 2, is an Android program. So I think what they're talking about doing is maybe taking this and putting it on the Chromebook. You know, I don't know. I'm looking at an article by PC Magazine that says the Chromebook Pixel isn't bad, just misunderstood. And it got some interesting points. There's another story also today where, speaking of Office 365, it's going to be updated every 3 months. So, you know, sounds like Microsoft is trying to say, you know, we're not only going to be doing this in the cloud, but we're going to be refreshing it every 3 months. Who knows what every 3 months is going to bring as far as, you know, new features or bug fixes or whatever. But it'd be interesting to see.
Bruce, I've got a file here that I would like you to stream, an MP4 file. I don't think I can share. Can I share desktop in Skype?
Yes. Click the plus sign at the bottom of Skype. If you hover over Skype, click the plus sign, and then click share screen, and then pick what you want to share. And
probably ought to open it first, hadn't I? Well, this would work then. So if I do this, where the heck is the play button? Oh, there it is.
Amnon, I'm not sure what it'll do too, because in Skype it adds a separate thing. It doesn't replace your current video that he's captured, so it will discombobulate what Amnon sees in Skype. He would have to recapture whatever your screen share was. But.
All right, let me know if you can
get
that.
It did add another one.
Okay.
So I don't know what. So you are or are not seeing my gray screen?
I am seeing your gray screen.
All right. So, yeah, let's see if this works. Wow. This came from Fiverr.
Okay.
Well, look at that. No, I need to put, wait a second. Oh shoot, it's not going to work. This was nice because it was spread over 3 screens. Do it again, Mike. Yeah, no, it's not going to come out right. All right, so now what?
I mean, that's $5.
Well, that's worth it if that's what you need.
Yeah, you can click stop screen sharing. It'll take it back to where it was.
I don't know where it is. Where is it? I guess I have to do an Alt-Tab or something.
I got my registration back from FlickSpress within 10 seconds of doing it with Gmail.
Mm-hmm.
So they just don't like you.
They don't like that. I even sent a test email to that anonymous address, and it worked. So somehow they're not. Yeah. They don't like.
Where the heck is stop sharing the screen?
Go to the normal Skype screen and click on the plus sign again that you did to start screen sharing, and you can click stop.
There it is. I had to do an Alt-Tab. That's what it was.
Okay.
But no, the Fiverr.com, it's good stuff. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Now, Steve, Bruce, can you click on the one that Steve has put into chat? The link he just put there. It'd be easier for you to stream it with XSplit than it would be for me to try to stream it with Screen Share.
Yeah, I'd have to play his episode. Let me see. This is a particular one that I have set up for capturing different things. Let's see if I can get him in there a little bit better. So let's just see here.
One of the things that Fiverr is doing that I don't like is guys have figured out that if you want to order this video...
This is a production of Netcast Studio, online media for today's society. The new media broadcasting network dedicated to providing you content as it relates to your life. Whether it's technology, sports, educational, cultural, hobbies, or history, Netcast Studio has it all at netcaststudio.com.
That's neat.
This week on Ways of Tech 172, our smartphones are getting smarter, and Mozilla unveils their Firefox OS. Stitcher Radio, award-winning provider of news and talk radio for your mobile phone. Stitcher Smart Radio for your smartphone. Ways of Tech is a proud member of Tech Podcast Network at techpodcast.com. If it's tech, it's here. And Ways of Tech is a production of Netcast Studio over at netcaststudio.com.
You need to cut it before he sues us.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What is... You obviously have to give him something to make that video out of.
No.
What do you mean no?
I mean, you send him your logo. The guy had to know what he was copying. You just send him a
and who went there and actually filled it in and did all that thing and put it in high speed?
The way it works is someone there, my guess is, I'm speaking for Steve, but my guess is that he went through all of the many offerings. He found one that showed the guy drawing a logo and coloring it in, providing it in HD. He sent him his logo, and the guy sent him back that video.
I see. Okay.
That is, you find someone you find sort of it's not so much a template because it's hand-drawn, but the guy shows that I will hand-draw your logo and color it in for $5.
Yeah. You can take a PowerPoint and take it through the frames and make a video out of it.
Yeah. But for $5, I'd rather somebody else
absolutely.
worry about all that.
I know. I agree.
I mean, the one that Steve got, in 10 years ago, he'd probably had to pay somebody $1,000 or $500 to do something like that. But now with the technology that's available, the guy who did it, if you know how to draw, I guess it's still, that's still a lot of work.
Even
though it's sped up.
Yeah, it's not something that takes 5 minutes.
But if you're sitting there watching Dr. Phil and doing nothing else, $5 is $5. Of course, you only get $4. The guy who does it only got $4. $1 went to Fiverr.
Interesting.
Well, the trick to making money with Fiverr is sell something that's normally sells for $2 for $5. That's a joke.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype.
I see a number of voiceover offerings there. That space is so crowded, with voice.com and some of these other sites, where companies, but if, for Fiverr, it might be easier for you to get seen and notified on a popular site like Fiverr, and just, crank out some 30-second spots, for $5 a piece. Wouldn't take you long to do that.
Yeah. Most VO guys get anywhere from $100 up for a 30-second spot. And it's really interesting to hear them bad-mouthing anyone who does it for less than that price about how they are destroying the market. But you know what? That's just competition. That's the way the world revolves.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get Tom Moog to do spots for $5. He's too good to do that. Let's see if I have anything here that he did for me. Go ahead. It'll take me a while.
The problem with a site like that is you're just trying to see the wood for the trees, isn't it? There's so much that you have to go through in order to find the one that's just the one that you're looking for.
Steve should be selling those for $5 on Fiverr.
Mm-hmm. There you go, Steve.
Yeah. When I was on TalkShoe, several people said that I ought to do voiceovers and I ought to do this, and why haven't you put your name down for this or for that?
You definitely should do voiceovers. You got the voice for it. That's all.
Well, you have to believe that you've got a talent or believe in yourself for that. And I don't think personally that I've got a decent voice. I know lots of people have said I have, and I appreciate the encouragement and stuff, but I just don't believe I have.
Yes, you do.
When I hear myself, it's
yes, you do.
It's horrible. It's rubbish.
You do. No one likes hearing their own voice.
No, that is true. I do.
Well, there's one consultant who loves hearing his voice, but he's the only one.
Yeah, there are a few people I've met in the past who do like their own voice, I must admit, but I don't know. There's, Janie, she tried many times. She, in fact, the only person that has in recent years got me to actually do, what do they call it, like a demo. Mm-hmm. And she said, just read this out. And just read it, because that's all you have to do, because you've got the voice already. Just read it out and then send it back to me. But I didn't hear anything else, which is usually what happens.
It's just having the voice is not enough. You have to also have the delivery, and it takes some work. It's not an easy thing to do. I don't remember what I was watching. I was actually, when I was traveling this week, I was at a meeting, and there was a lady there, one of the presenters at one of the sessions. She is general counsel for a very large university. I mean, this is a big-time position. So she gets up, she's talking normally, you're impressed with how sharp she is, how at her age she's been able to reach great heights. It was her turn to get up and to do her part of the presentation. So she gets up there, and honest to goodness, she read the whole thing. And when she read it, so she's talking normally, normal tone of voice, like we're doing, and she gets up there. From the moment you start dealing with things audio, you'll have to deal with the term decibel and its abbreviation, dB. Things can get confusing because decibels are, I mean, this is a $500,000 a year lady who cannot even work from note cards and bullet points to be able to make a presentation. I was unpleasantly surprised. I was shocked, in other words.
It does take a skill to, I mean, you need to know what you're talking about and at least have some background information and some key points and things. But yeah, just to sit and read with no soul behind it kind of thing. So you're just reading words off of a sheet of paper is sad.
You know what the biggest, and I've actually, even though I'm not a good voiceover person, I've actually trained several extremely good voiceover people. In fact, one guy, I found a tape that he did back in about 1974, 75. And this guy, when he first started working with us, he had no broadcasting experience at all. When I got done with him, I am proud to say that, and I had forgotten about it, but this guy was network quality. I mean, he had a voice you would die for. I heard a commercial that he did for a rock festival held in Rockingham, North Carolina, called August Jam or something like that. I mean, this thing was just absolutely awesome. And I think he probably got out of the business because it's so cutthroat. It's so hard to make a decent living even whenever you've got all the credentials. But the one thing that I've always tried to teach people, and I've taught even some people here in the last few months about how to present themselves, the big thing is to relax. Don't stiffen up in front of the microphone and start reading. Just relax. Just read it casually. That's exactly what happens. And when you get tense, your voice tenses up, and you can hear it.
One of the best things I ever did, and this was a long time ago, IBM sent me to Dale Carnegie. And I took the course, and it was amazing. The people that were in the course were like me. I mean, I had some public speaking experience, but I had all these horrible habits and didn't know how to organize myself or time myself, or, I didn't understand how to look at the crowd and all that. But there were people in that room that would literally lock up. The first week, tried to get up and give a 2-minute speech. They would just freeze. By the end of that class, they were talking comfortably. They could get up. The purpose of the class was to learn. All right, you're going to do a 2-minute talk and I'm going to give you the subject just before you stand up. And by the end of that class, everybody was able to do that. And to go around the room and make eye contact with every person in the room, and to learn not to put your hands in your pockets, not to jingle your change, not to look up or not to look down at your feet. And it's hard to learn, but once you get it, it's really valuable.
But it's a skill you have to continue to develop.
Have to keep doing it because it's true. I remember when I used to do a lot of training, they taught you to use your nervousness to your advantage. Where if you got butterflies in your stomach before you were going to go up, you use that to create enthusiasm when you stand up to talk to the crowd. And I think the biggest crowd I ever spoke to was probably about 8,000 to 10,000 people at a show, trade show.
That's easier than speaking to 10 people.
Yes, it is because you just see them as a big mass that you just it's just a blob. You're right. But
I actually did some public speaking back in the 70s. I think I've told this before that was part of a very interesting operation where we actually conducted the Special Olympics for the state in Laurinburg, North Carolina, of all places. The guy who was heading up the Civitan Club there is one of these real go-getters, top 10 in United States salespeople for AT&T. I mean, he's just a real crackerjack go-getter kind of guy. He took on this amazing challenge of bringing the Special Olympics to North Carolina, to Laurinburg at St. Andrew's Presbyterian College. And he did it. Not only was it an overwhelming success, thanks in great part to his leadership, but when we went up to Charlotte for the for the state convention, he was kind of a hero up there because of what he accomplished. Accordingly, there were several speaking spots that were to be filled by people from there, and I wasn't part of it. I didn't think anything about it. Well, he came to me. I was downstairs in the restaurant about 7 o'clock in the morning. He came to me. He said they've had a cancellation in a speech at 10:30. They want to know if you'll fill in. I said, and talk about what? And they said they don't know. They just need somebody to fill in. And I said, well, what do you think is important? He said, well, let's talk about how we promoted it, how we got people to buy in and so forth. So, all right. So I literally got an envelope and made out some bullet points. It took me about a half hour on some things to cover. And when I went in there, and I don't know why, I guess I was too stupid. I was not scared, wasn't nervous. I'd done a lot of public speaking back then. Got in front of the group, and I had half an hour to cover. And once I started talking, people started taking out notepads and writing things down, which I had never had that happen before. I mean, it was just really bizarre for you to talk and say, uh-oh, these people are paying attention to what I'm saying. After it was over and done with, I must have had 10 people approach me in the hallway afterwards, and about a month later, I got a letter from Eunice Kennedy Shriver, and she said that, congratulations that your talk was voted the most helpful event of the entire seminar, of the entire convention.
Cool.
So, I mean, and I'm not saying that to brag. What I'm saying is that I knew the topic. I knew it well. I was able to speak about it without having to stop and think because it was something I did it for a living. I was very comfortable with it. And that taught me a very valuable lesson, and that if you're going to do public speaking, not only do you absolutely have to understand the subject matter, but you need to do it frequently because you will lose practice. If I had to do that right now, I would not do well.
The hardest thing with off-the-cuff speaking is to, even though you know what you want to say, is that your mind sometimes gets ahead of itself and you forget to say things because you say, I want to touch on these 3 points. But you've already thought of it, so you think you've covered it. So it's kind of wacky. Amnon's gone. When he gets back, I want to go full screen. I created a promo using I got it back already from
Wow.
Express.
Okay.
It's actually, the preview is there. Amnon is off camera. Bruce is gone.
A few times
people... Bruce left at 12. That's right.
Who was Steve?
I said I've noticed a few times people that aren't conversant with speaking in public or in front of an audience sort of thing. They're so tied up with the process that they think they've got to adhere to and follow that, they have like the key points in their head. And they just get them, I've done that key point, but they're getting them out of sequence, and then it just like goes from a tiny little mess into a huge great mess because everything's just out of order, and they just get so flustered. But you have to be reasonably relaxed with it, and the only way to do that is to have confidence in the topic that you're talking about. But yeah, it's so easy. You say you get butterflies and stuff like that. When I was working for Tandy, out of the group, we'd always have to stand up and sort of do a presentation to the directors and whoever else, and they'd always pick me. And I never really liked public speaking, but I mean I can do it, and but they always used to pick me to do. Oh, go on, Steve, because you do it so well, and you always we win the prize or whatever it is. It's usually sort of prizes and stuff like that. I think, I can't be bothered. I don't want to mess about doing that. I don't enjoy it. Yeah, but you do it so well, and we always, we want to win the prize, this, that, and the other. And the last one I did, they were doing some major changes with the way the company was going to be run. And they basically asked, there was 4 groups of managers from the 4 districts to put forward their suggestions for a way the company should sort of look at certain aspects of the way it was run. And then they would, when everyone had done that, then they would say, at the end of it, they made the announcement of what was actually going to happen. And the presentation that I gave, it was almost like a sort of blasé, because I think, I can't be bothered to flipping do this. So I just basically stood there and just ran through the things that we agreed on, this is what we should do. And there was the directors, there was 4 of them there, and they were all looking at each other as we were making this presentation, and the guy was turning over the flip chart and, just running through the points. And he said, "Excuse me, I need to interrupt you here." He said, "Have you been looking at our notes?" He said, "Because the stuff that you're suggesting that we should be doing is what we're going to be announcing in 5 minutes." He said, "You must have seen the notes. And, you seem very confident in the way you're putting it across." And I went, "No, it's just, obvious." But I got a lot of comments about that it was, seemed very relaxed, and, I must do I do that sort of speaking and things like that in a different situation? I said, no, but it's just, if you're confident about what you're speaking about, and you're not going to falter because of, you've got everything sorted in your head, then it should just flow out. And certainly if you're enthusiastic and you believe in what you're saying, and it comes across that way as well, I think.
Hey, Amnon, go full screen on me.
Okay.
All right, ready? Sorry, no sound. I don't have a way of feeding the sound back through.
I sure hope you didn't go and pay $5 now to do that.
That was free.
Oh.
Free.
And even if it weren't, what's $5 to Spence?
Well.
Yeah, well, after all. So, yeah, it's very nice. I guess the free stuff is really cool. And even the stuff that you pay for is cool.
It's amazing to think that something like that is free, and not even, 5-6 years ago, you would have been spending hundreds and having to wait for somebody to do that for you.
I'll do one for the show with dancing zombies. That would be cool. Clyde, they're actually walking out of the cemetery. So, Steve, can you do a voiceover for us and just say, tonight on BBC, watch Stupid Americans, the new series about how Americans do all these stupid things, and we get to laugh at those colonialists.
I could, yes.
Yeah. And it would probably be true.
Tonight on the BBC.
Steve, you have to push it down into your chest. Tonight on the BBC.
Right. Okay. Tonight on the BBC.
Yes, push it down and
British
really
Broadcasting Corporation.
The boo-boo.
I remember them trying to teach us to speak from our abdomen, how hard that was, and how the first times you did it, you actually felt lightheaded because it was such an unusual thing.
It's better than talking out of your butt, I suppose.
Well, it could
be.
Did Amnon? Yeah, Amnon's back.
Oh, we went again.
He did, didn't he? That sly dog.
Oh, so I wanted to say I ordered Uma.
Bless you. Uma Thurman.
Yes, she's stopping by.
Excellent.
But, I was finally convinced after listening to several people tell me about it, and then I'm listening to the radio and I hear Clark Howard falling over himself, praising it. It got Consumer Reports top internet telephone provider ratings, and just I figured, well, you know what? I'll go with this because I know several people who use it who love it. And you just pay the taxes and fees. And it's amazingly, my Lingo bill, I wasn't really paying attention to it. I'd have unlimited U.S. and Canada calling. It's over $30 now.
That's ridiculous.
It is insane. I started out at $12.95 years ago, and it just crept up.
I think that's some sort of tricky business model. I don't like it at all. I told you what happened to me on Big Red Wire. They were up to 25 cents a minute for in-state calls.
Wow.
Well,
I'm almost ready with that. Too late.
Actually, where was I? Where was it? Here we go. We were talking earlier about market share for Windows 8. And here we have it.
Here you have what? Oh,
market share.
I don't know if that's how that's going to look. It might not look too good. It's a little too wide for the screen. But amazingly, Windows 7 has 44% of the operating system market.
How old is this?
This is recent. This is just as of February.
Yeah.
This was published on March 1st, these numbers. So
And
Windows 8 adoption is at 2.79%, not growing as fast as Windows 7, but still getting better.
So Windows 7 has 44?
44.48%. XP is still 39%.
Oh, they didn't count me, that's why.
Oh, okay. Vista has 5%, 5.24.
Jeez.
Mac, total Mac, if you count different versions of it, is around, let's see, maybe 12% total for all the different versions.
Too many words. One word, irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I bring it up is because of what's happening with hardware and what's happening with the price of hardware. And how people are not enjoying the initial experience with Windows 8. The way that I get this great new machine, it's going to be great. And everybody I talk to who has it has gone through that initial shock of where is everything? How do I get this to work? What do I do? This doesn't look the same, and why should I didn't want to have to go through this difficult time. And I was talking to a woman on Friday who said her daughter, who was a graphic designer, like 23 years old, got a new machine, and it was Windows 8. And she said, this is a smart kid. And she still had out of the box, the experience wasn't good. Took a while for her to get to the point where she felt she could do what she needed to do comfortably. Just shutting the machine down and turning it on was difficult.
That's interesting because Rick Allen, Rick's House show I do on Saturday, Rick just went out and bought a new laptop. And of course it was Windows 8. Now, even if Rick's listening, he won't mind me saying this. He is probably not the most technically sophisticated among us. And he said, it took me a while to figure that thing out, but he said, once I got it figured out, he said, I really like it. It had something to do with moving the mouse over to the right-hand side. It brings up this pop-out menu when you click on it.
Yep.
And then you can bring it to the desktop. I mean, the tiles. And then if you got the tiles, then if you want to go back to the desktop, you click on one of the tiles.
Yes.
He said, no problem. So it had been working fine.
Charms bar, apparently. If you go to the top right or bottom right, we're on the right somewhere anyway. It brings up the charms bar. And if you go over on the top left, it brings up like what programs are running perhaps in the background. And then bottom left, actually a lot of people don't realize this, but if you right click in the bottom left corner, it brings you up a very basic start button.
Really?
So something very similar to a very, very basic start button. Can't speak. It's the trouble when you have pizza, you see. I didn't have anything to eat for about 7.5 hours, so I was absolutely ravenous. That's why I popped off to get something to eat, and now I'm bloated. So I've eaten too much. I feel like a big pig.
What did you eat?
A large pizza.
Oh.
All by yourself?
All by myself.
Wow. Now, was that a pizza pie or pieces of pizza?
No, it was actually a whole pizza that I got from, Walmart, as you call them over there. You can get your own made up with your own toppings.
Interesting.
So I chucked it in the oven, and it was like, I need something to eat because my stomach was rumbling like hell. So I did, and I caught most of the specials, Spence, so don't feel upset that I wasn't here for the whole of them. I did catch most of them.
And now Steve goes, plop, plop, fizz, fizz.
Fizz. I said Civitas a while ago. I meant Civitan, as I am appropriately.
Now, talking about touch screens and stuff. The article goes, you know the old adage, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me? Still, even if you got bit by the HP touchpad debacle, HP's newly announced $169 Slate 7 tablet could prove hard to resist. Spec-wise, the Slate 7 sports an ARM dual-core Cortex A9 1.6 gigahertz processor, 7-inch 1024 by 600 HFFS screen, Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, 3-megapixel camera on the back, front-facing VGA camera, 8 gigabyte of onboard storage, HP ePrint, Beats audio, and a micro SD expandable card slot. It measures 197 millimeter by 116 millimeter by 10.7 millimeter thick. The weight is 13 ounces. I love it. Everything is millimeter, but the weight is ounces. It will be available in the U.S. in April. Engadget has some pics of their initial hands-on take. So HP, I thought HP was out of that kind of thing.
Oh no, they went out
back.
and came back. When Meg Whitman took over, either she said she would, I think they said they were out, and she came in and said, no, we're not, or she said we're out and then changed her mind. I can't remember what it was, but they made a complete turnaround.
Yep.
They said, no, that we can't get out of that business.
They're in it.
Well, I think they're coming into it after a very shaky start and a lot of confidence lacking by their dumping the old one, and they're coming back into it with a mediocre product really, really late. At not particularly good price, in my opinion. Not for the specs.
Their Windows tablet, I saw it at a trade show, and it was not good.
I think they should have left well enough alone, personally.
But that was probably this May. It'll be a year ago that it had come out. It was not running, obviously not running Windows 8 yet. It was running Windows 7, but it was just, we were trying to install applications on it, and it was just not powerful enough. So I see an article here, Amnon, that says that their Android tablet is $170. Do What did you say the price was?
$169.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. I thought you said $199.
It seems to me like it's very much a case of, well, we need to be in there too. So here's our offering, which I think is all the wrong reasons. HP are better than that.
Oh, sorry. When you guys clear your cache, or when you
never got any cash. Not that sort of cash, right? So.
I knew that was coming.
Give me a couple of days, I can clear out all my cache.
Or if you use CCleaner and all that, do you remove your cookies?
No.
You don't? No. How about you, Spence?
It depends on the machine.
How about you, Steve?
Yep. Everything. Everything goes apart from, I don't generally use Firefox or Internet Explorer, right. So I use Opera, but everything apart from form data and the wand password thing goes. Everything.
So here, a Stanford computer science student has found a serious bug in Chromium, Safari, Opera, and Microsoft Internet Explorer. Feroz Abu Khadija has demonstrated that these browsers allow unbounded local storage with HTML5. The HTML5 web storage standard was developed to allow sites to store larger amount of data, like 5 to 10 megabytes, than was previously allowed by cookies, like 4 kilobytes. The current limits are 2.5 megabytes per origin in Google Chrome, 5 megabytes per origin in Mozilla, Firefox, and Opera, 10 megabytes per origin in Internet Explorer. However, what if we get clever and make lots of subdomains like one file filldisk.com, two filldisk, and so forth? Should each subdomain get 5 megabytes of space? The standard says no. However, Chrome, Safari, and IE currently do not implement any such affiliate site storage limit. So the students has logged the bug with Chromium and Apple, but couldn't do so for MSIE because the page is broken. So Firefox implementation of HTML5 local storage is not vulnerable to this exploit. They were talking about filling up your drive with cookies, because instead of it being 4K, it is now up to 10 meg each. So you may want to think about it and look at your cookies. Mike, why don't you delete cookies?
Because there are sites that I go to regularly that you have to go back and click on things and let it reset the cookie. And I'm very careful about which porn sites I go to, so I don't get a lot of cookies from them.
You don't want cookies from porn anything.
No. Only the good porn sites can put cookies on my computer.
Yeah, the ones that you've given explicit permissions for.
Yeah. I asked before, has anyone here ever heard of Weebly.com? Weebly.
Sounds familiar, but I don't know.
I've seen something in the last couple of weeks about Weebly. I can't think what it was.
Well, here's the scoop. Some people, friends of mine who I hosted their website for many years on my shared server, they decided they wanted to move it to Weebly so that they could maintain their own code and all that stuff, which is fine. I didn't care. They moved it over. All I had to do was reset the DNS, did that, and everything's fine. And for a long time, I couldn't figure out how to log in to manage it. It is actually, it uses cPanel, but it doesn't have the cPanel or the web host manager interfaces to get to it. They use proprietary interfaces. I finally got the login and password for the website, and I cannot in any place find where you go to set up email accounts. Now, I think I know that this service includes POP accounts because when I FTP into the account using an FTP client, you go through the typical Linux architecture structure. You go into the current accounts, emails. There are emails getting into the POP accounts associated with this domain. Yet I can't find any place in here to set up the POP email accounts. Makes no sense to me at all.
We can talk later on. Mike, and I can log in and see if it's possible.
Have you played with this before?
No.
They said, I mean, with it being a free site, you can understand that they would only offer email forwarding. But this one has got to have POP associated with it because the emails are getting it. The problem is that the emails are filling up their allocated server space. They got server space full. And also it just occurred to me that why am I getting an email on this, which tells me that somewhere my name is listed as a support email because it was moved over from, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. You don't use cPanel, do you, Amnon?
No. cPanel has too many security holes.
Yeah. That's probably why nobody uses it.
Well, there are people out there that use it. A lot of
like
them.
80% of the market.
Yeah, because it makes it easy for them. They don't have to bother. But it has a bunch of them. Read about it.
I don't care. If anybody wants to steal my stuff, they're going to be really bored.
Well, I don't want them stealing anything.
No, you're in a different position than I'm in. You have clients that you have a responsibility to. I have a responsibility to me. Well, let's wind it up if we're running out of stuff.
Yeah. I'm sitting here shopping for small, flexible camera mounts.
You mean a suction cup to go on the LCD?
I looked at that. I looked at there's one that's like a suction cup that's got a flexible gooseneck on it, which looks like it could be valuable.
And where do you stick it on?
Well, you can, if you don't have like on my Surface here, I can actually mount a like a solid something that would be that the suction cup would stick to.
Spence, I told you,
to mount the camera there.
Just get a microphone arm. That scissor.
Well, I actually found a very nice little tripod, ultraweight tripod mount that's got a bunch of different features that I really like, called the UltraPod.
How much?
$16.
Yeah, that smaller microphone scissor thing that I got that I'm using at my desk, it was, I think, $29.
Yeah, I'll show you a picture of this little thing. But what I like about this is it's got Velcro straps. You can actually strap it to, like if you're trying to take a picture and there's no place to put it down on the tripod and you want to have a very still mount, you can just strap it to a fence. You can strap it to a branch. It's actually pretty cool. Let me find XSplit here so I can actually show this thing. I think it might work out pretty good for what I'm looking for, just as a little universal mount. So it shows it there being used as an actual tripod, and then they show it being used as a. Oh, sorry, I have to move the window. Oh, I can't move the window. Hang on a second.
Don't hide behind a tree.
I'm my bad. I was trying to losing my mind here.
You're trying to lose your mind?
Yeah. Oh, I've already. This is a nice thing, a nice use for it.
Oh. Yeah, that's more like it, not to a branch, but to the
Yeah.
tree.
I know if it was you were at a fence post or a railing on a handrail or something, just to be able to mount it. But this could be something I could throw in my backpack when I travel. Even though I have a small camera, it's still, at times, especially a small handheld point and shoot, to take a steady picture is much better than trying to lean against something. Big SLR, digital SLR bodies are a lot easier to get stable because there's more weight to them.
Oh.
So, oh well. Are we shutting down?
We're shutting down. There's a lot of stuff to do still today.
I think I'm hanging gutters with my son. I'm not sure yet, but.
Oh. I'd rather stay on the air.
All right. Anything else anybody want to say? No.
No, me. Oh, I'll talk to you after the show.
All right. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention something. Wednesday night at 9:00 on Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert. She's going to have some guests, and they're going to be talking about the use of Seroquel, something like that, psychotic drug to treat PTSD. And apparently a lot of military personnel, vets, have died in bed just because they are treated the wrong way with that. That's not what it's for. So far, I mean, I put it on some of the military lists, and there are a lot of people who are interested to hear about it from both sides. So
I got news for you.
What?
PTSD is in no way, shape, or form limited to the military.
No, I'm just saying.
That's just the most obvious manifestation.
Right. No, actually, the article there that she sent out said that you're not in the military, you think you're not affected. Well, the government now, GSA or whatever, was fined millions of dollars for bringing it into nursing homes. So, it must be a subject that a lot of people are interested in, because I got a couple of emails back from some doctors and from some attorneys who said we definitely will tune in because this is different, very interesting. So just go to NissanCommunications.com to reawaken your brilliance. That's this coming Wednesday, the 6th. March 6th at 9:00. I should have said it earlier, but I forgot. Sorry, Julie. All right. You were going to say you said we'll talk later.
We'll talk afterwards, yeah.
Spence? Are
I'm
you
here.
warp 8 or 9?
Oh, actually, that's snow.
Never mind. Okay.
I'm in a winter wonderland here.
No, it's not.
He's
I just thought I'd
pretending to be
leave on a
Father
nice,
Christmas.
peaceful scene.
He's Father Christmas?
Father Christmas.
Have a pleasant week.
You too. Thanks for having me, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Have a great
Steve.
one.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Steve.
thanks to everybody who's still here and everybody who was here. Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thank you for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together here. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your your malware files. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And while you're at it, like us on Facebook by clicking the button on the lower left. Tonight at 8:00, we're going to have Carrie with her show, Carrie's Psychic Cafe. If you want a free reading, join us. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be Debbie with Health In at 11, talking about homeopathy. See you, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays 9 a.m. till noon. Carrie's Psychic Cafe with Carrie Silkowski, Sundays 8 till 9 p.m. Health In with Debbie Bruck, Mondays 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays 8 till 9 p.m. One Chic Mama with Mary Michelle, Wednesdays 4 till 5 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by ThatVidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.